You're 4.5 miles away. That gives you an ETA in green. It gives you an ETA of 11:05. So green 11:05, that's going to be overhead, maybe even a little bit sooner. But that's the area of concern. And another way to look at it is to look at the shear rate, the amount of twist and shear, and it really spun up near Sattler. The green and the red within that green is what's indicative of the higher shear. And there's a little swath of it there too, where it really blossomed over the southern and southeastern edge of Canyon Lake, that southern shore there. That yellow area is where that really, the potentially tornadic part of the storm. Either way, even if it's not a tornado, straight line winds can cause just as much damage as tornadoes, and this storm is strong, stretching from Wimberley all the way down to Smithson Valley, and the tornado warning is for eastern Comal County. It does include the city of Greene. You are included within this, and then of course any surrounding communities. And I'm going to look at some of the surrounding streets that'll be affected by first switching it back over. Greene, Glenbrook, not far from New Braunfels High School, basically the north end of New Braunfels, Glenbrook included. That's where this rotation is going. And our fine folks at the National Weather Service, this is headed right toward the radar site, which is at their office near the airport. That's where the radar is located. Unfortunately, when storms get right over the radar, you lose good perspective of them. It's good to have them just a distance, a good convenient distance for the radar to measure it and sample it. But no surprise, the severe thunderstorm has been extended eastward to include Geronimo, Zorn, San Marcos, and that's until midnight. So that extends into northern Guadalupe County. This is north of Seguin, and that is until midnight. That's for the severe thunderstorm portion of this. And keep in mind, this likely has some of that very large hail that we were just looking at there with this storm. But right now, this is the severe weather. Turning the lightning back on, and you see it's electrified. It's a bit of a light show, but we have other severe storms off to the west. We'll get back to that activity that's moving out of Canyon Lake, moving through Canyon Lake, I should say. Sorry about the twisty map here. That's moving through Canyon Lake, but we have other storms that are severe off to the west, hail-making storms, maybe some gusts to 60 miles per hour, just north of Lakey right now in northern Rial County. We also have moving out of Kerr County into northwestern Bandera County. Bandera, time of arrival for you, making it there would be 11:58 p.m. I think it'd be a little bit sooner than that, but let's see. Let's check this again. Yeah, about 11:50. It's about 20 miles away. About 11:50, maybe a little before 11:50 for you in Bandera. Development has been southward. So this is from the cold front that's moving in. The storms, once they develop, they move west to east, but as the front drops southward, it continues to develop those storms. So I am anticipating more development in northern Bexar County. Timberwood Park, Bulverde, you're just getting clipped. Well, Timberwood Park, you're about to get clipped. Bulverde, you're getting hit in most of Bulverde at the moment. It's not severe, however. I am watching, I'm going to switch back radars. Here we go. That's better. Probably a little bit of small hail headed toward Bergheim, right along 46 at the moment. But what we're mostly watching is this, of course, tornado warning, which anybody in or near the city of Greene, you need to get to the innermost room as far away from windows as you can, part of your house or structure, because that's where we have the potential tornado at the moment. And when we turn on the velocities here, excuse me, that's when these greens and reds come together in this orientation relative to the radar site is when you get that potential tornado. I mean, this is just north of New Braunfels High School. Home of the Unicorns, just north of the high school. Right along River Road is where we have that potential tornado. And again, Greene, you're right here. Anybody in Greene or immediately around Greene down to Summerwood, Freyheit. Anyway, you need to seek shelter in the innermost room. Sometimes the best room can even be a closet. or underneath a staircase if you can. If you've got a closet underneath stairs, that's my preferred location if you don't have a basement. And I know we typically don't have basements around here. Otherwise, this is a lot of hail in the purple that's falling there. Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on this, and got to come around here to just check a few settings on the computer. Yeah, hail's definitely an issue out there in some of those storms. In the hill country, the hail, we're talking maybe 1.5 inches. We could have 2-inch size hail, 70-mile-per-hour winds within that severe thunderstorm. That's not out of the question. So within that large hail we were talking about, Canyon Lake, you just got walloped, and you're still getting hit by the large hail here on the northern edge of Canyon Lake. We're not counting you out. This is another hail core right there, Canyon City, on the northeastern shore of Canyon Lake. And you could definitely get some gusts up to 70 miles per hour. So this baby's hauling through there. And I'm also watching for the potential more hail development near Bergheim as that moves toward Bulverde. There's the chance that could even amplify a little bit more. Sorry, I'm adjusting a few things here as we get going. And you'll see the screen moving around a little bit, but looks like we have a few boundaries coming together as well. Some of those boundaries. New severe thunderstorm warning for the city of Bandera. City of Bandera, new severe thunderstorm warning for you. And that severe thunderstorm warning is until 11:45 p.m. So Bandera, you've got that severe thunderstorm warning. That's a new one that just got issued downstream from that thunderstorm that's currently in northern Bandera County. Kerrville, I know you've had some rain and some thunder and lightning, but for the most part, you're okay at the moment in Kerrville. Sorry, I'm gonna come over here, click this, get that going, turn this off. Okay, and good. We're good with that. All right, sorry y'all. Sometimes I have to step off camera to adjust some of these things. But again, if you're in the city of Green, you need to seek shelter right now because that potentially tornadic part of the thunderstorm is headed your way. And keep in mind, San Antonio, these thunderstorms up in the hill country, they're on a trajectory to move through Bandera County and then potentially even here into San Antonio as well. And then we also have the most important part, this little area of rotation that's about to hit I-35 and moving into the city of Green. We all know and love Green, but now's the time to be seeking shelter in a sturdy structure in an interior room. Otherwise, we've got the other severe thunderstorm warning that we talked about was extended eastward for Geronimo. And I can give you some times of arrival for the thunderstorm. I'm going to say really the worst part of the storm, or one of the worst parts of the storm, and that's headed to the east-southeast around 25. Kyle at 11:22, Martindale 11:25, Lockhart 11:49, Luling at 11:58 is when that's going to be there. But this is moving into Geronimo. You're about to get hit by it. I'm going to turn this off, give you an ETA. So those of you in Geronimo can know exactly. I mean, Geronimo, you already need to seek shelter, especially because headed toward Geronimo is the spinning part of the storm. But Geronimo, 11:30 p.m., so you're within a half hour of the big, heavy rain hitting, and then even some gusts up to 70 miles per hour with this storm. Now, as I mentioned, this storm it's moving over the radar site, so that doesn't give us the best look, because radars look outward, they don't look upward. And a good example of this is if I show you the volumetric imagery, and you'll see a unique shape and pattern to this, and that's right here. See how it's cut off at a slope? It's cut off at a slope like this because the radar isn't looking higher up. It looks out like that and not directly upwards. So that's why we have that defined, almost looks like a smooth surface, but really this storm, especially the hail here, extends way high up even higher within that storm than what the radar is seeing. So that's the unique situation here, is the radar is not even seeing all of it right now, at least not the nearest radar site. This right here is the hail part of the thunderstorm, and the hail part of the thunderstorm especially is near Canyon City. So this is essentially moving through the eastern portion of Canyon Lake near the dam, and Canyon City. Looking for some streets here. There aren't very many. These are some rural areas, but FM 306 in Canyon City, and then a south access road. So that's on the eastern edge of the lake, essentially. But that's another chunk of hail within the storm. This is where the hail's falling and hitting the ground, is where that purple hits the ground. Otherwise, we've got it suspended up in the clouds. That's where the hail is suspended, up in the clouds, right around here. And it's ringing around the storm is what it's doing at the moment. So let's get back to 2D. And we're going to go home here, check out any more development elsewhere. And we do have some in other severe storms. We're getting a better look at that action that's moving into Bandera, Pipe Creek. You're downstream from this. Right now around Bandera, you've got some rain, but that's not the severe part. The severe part is about to hit Medina and then the city of Bandera. So the severe part is that purple part we're looking at on the upper left-hand side of the screen. As for an ETA, it's going to make it to Medina at 11:22. Okay, Medina 11:22, and then we've got city of Bandera at 11:52. All right, 11:52, city of Bandera. 11:52, or a little bit sooner actually, is when you'll get that. Bernie, you're getting that action moving through as we speak, and that's not severe. Bulverde, you've got the lightning and thunder, but nothing severe. We're really just watching this rotation that's heading into green as we speak. It's heading into green. And I'm going to switch this over to the velocities. We're losing it as it goes right over the radar, but I'm going to switch radar sites, and that could give us a better view. Come over here. Yeah, it's moving right over green. This area right here, that's the rotation. So we're looking at a different radar site farther away, but it can at least detect some of the rotation higher up within the clouds. And that's the main threat zone is green, moving through Elm Creek, Ranch Estates, almost at I-35. That's where we have the potential tornado within this severe thunderstorm. But don't think that's the only threat, because we have other threats, and that's namely the hail within these purple areas. The hail is a large threat. The hail has moved away from the city from Canyon Lake. The hail is moving out, but that's headed eastward, just clipping Wimberley and other areas. The plan is the Weather Service is going to let this expire as it at 11:15 p.m. right now, just with the latest trend. And we're not seeing as much electricity within this storm, but still we do have some, and that means it's still capable of at least knocking out power when it comes to that. And we'll take a look at power outages in just a moment, but I wanted to come over here and get a look. And once it is passed, if you're in Canyon Lake, once this all has passed and it's safe to go outside, then you can go check out, see the situation, and you can post your photos. KSAT Connect here on our Weather Authority app. You can post those photos. I'm looking at some that have come in just at a different time from earlier today. And okay, yep, okay, a lot of lightning strike photos as well. For example, let's look at this one. right here. There you go. That's a view. Thunderstorm radio tower being struck to the northwest. So that was from Leon Valley. That was taken earlier today. It looks like drone footage some viewer took, or they're high up. Anyway, spectacular views of the thunderstorms today. But now, most importantly, we've got the severe weather and the severe storms, and more development now starting to creep its way into Bexar County. The circulation has weakened a little bit. That's a good thing. Headed toward green, but you're still not in the clear. You're not in the clear at all. Hail size is most likely down to a quarter. It was bigger than that. Could have been the size of eggs as it moved through Canyon Lake. To illustrate that, put this into motion, and those purples, right when it went over Canyon Lake, I'm going to take that off. These purples that you'll see, boom, right there from Fisher to Canyon Lake, that really purple part of the storm, that was when we had the largest hail. Fisher all the way down through Canyon Lake, past the southern shore, and now the strongest part of the storm is headed to I-35. And downstream, we've got Geronimo about to get clipped by this storm. Geronimo, it's on your doorstep. Kingsbury, you'd be next. Martindale, it's moving in as we speak. And notice these showers popping up in front of it. That's the prefrontal activity. What we have here is the thunderstorms developing along the cold front and now scraping northern Bexar County, but this continues to develop southward. Watch this. See how that last little frame there, you get this little development? I expect more of this southward into Stone Oak, into Timberwood Park, and then along 1604 momentarily. But currently the severe weather is now particularly hitting I-35 in Comal County, heading into northern Guadalupe County. That's where we have the threats for 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts and large damaging hail. Otherwise, Bandera County, you're getting hit. Strongest part of the storm is just north of Medina. It's moving into Medina, and that's headed southeastward toward Bandera and Pipe Creek, potentially even Bexar County thereafter. Farther to the west, Real County, just north of Lakey. Yeah, we've got some large hail here. This is some big hail. Luckily, that's a pretty rural area, but folks have ranches out there, and some folks live out here as well, and this is some large hail. Hopefully it didn't hit many dwellings in that area, but this is some massive hail that's within that thunderstorm. And Vanderpool, Lost Maples, you're included within this warning because you're under the threat of that large hail. Giving you a time, if you're in Vanderpool, 11:42 p.m. That's 12 and a half miles away, so that'll get to you in Vanderpool by 11:42 p.m. Medina, you're seeing it move in as we speak. City of Bandera, it's raining hard around you, and it's a little loud off to the northwest, but that stronger part of the storm is headed your way. Pipe Creek, assuming that stays intact and makes it to you, Pipe Creek, you'd have it at midnight. At midnight, Pipe Creek would get hit by that. All right, 11:12 p.m. and the severe thunderstorm is still in effect for eastern Comal and northern Guadalupe. The tornado warned part of this storm has weakened, and that warning is going to be expiring at 11:15 p.m. I'm going to hop off KSAT 12 off the air, but we're going to stay live on the KSAT Weather Authority app. KSAT Weather Authority app, ksat.com, and KSAT 12 on YouTube. I'll be live there giving you updates. All right, everybody, hello. On the KSAT Weather Authority app, thanks for joining us. I'm just going to verify a few things are working here, and then we're going to get back to this, and also go through KSAT Connect. Okay, checking a few things. Enjoy the live radar. I'll zoom in for you a little bit as well while I'm getting a few things situated. So some lightning down there now to Timberwood Park, almost into Stone Oaks. We're seeing that development southward. But remember, the main part of this storm is in Comal County and moved into northern Guadalupe County. So I'm going to leave that up for the moment. And let's see. Decent amount of tree damage in parts of San Antonio today, especially on the west side of town and southwest side of town. Jeez, that's messy. No severe storms in Bexar County at the moment. No severe storms in Bexar County, but there are severe storms in other areas. And we're going to look at that. I'm waiting to see what kind of photos come in from Canyon Lake, because Canyon Lake got hit hard by hail and even some high winds. So waiting to see some of those photos coming in. Okay. All right, everybody watching online, sorry, our battery's running low, so I'm just going to swap out batteries and I'll be right back, okay? Thank you. All right. Let's make sure we have this working here. I'm back. Updated a few things, checked out some new information, and here we are. Another update. Comal County, your warning around Canyon Lake has been canceled. Smithson Valley, your warning has been canceled. Yes, you have more heavy rain, lightning, and thunder, but the worst of it there has come to an end, and the warnings have been canceled. And what we're going to do now is take a look at radar, and then we're going to go through some of the photos and videos that have come in on KSAT Connect. So what we have the ongoing warnings, particularly northern Guadalupe County and I-35. Here we go, this area right here. This is the most electrified and intense storm where there was the potential of a tornado on the south side of Canyon Lake all the way toward Green. This is where we still have the severe thunderstorm warning, winds up to 60, 70 miles per hour, a few gusts, and some hail potentially 1 inch in diameter. This is now just north of Seguin, hitting Geronimo. You're getting hit by part of the worst part of the storm all the way up to Zorn as well. And then San Marcos and Martindale, it's moving in as we speak. On the backside of it, so the worst part is now for Geronimo, Zorn, up to San Marcos and Martindale. But even once the worst part passes, you'll still have areas of rain and some lightning and thunder lingering. But the worst is at the beginning. The worst is at the front end of this storm. So at least have some kind of confidence there and take some solace in that the worst is right at the beginning, and it's not going to get worse. It's only going to get better and improve as time goes by. So that's for you in Geronimo, all the way up to Zorn and even Martindale. Stopping this, turning off the lightning. We know there's a lot of lightning in it. This right here is the strongest part of the storm, and that's San Marcos all the way down to Geronimo, and that's headed to the east, southeast at 25 miles per hour. Seguin, you're getting hit by some heavy rain and probably some puffs of wind that you're noticing as well. Maybe some 50 mile per hour gusts in Seguin, but the most severe part is just north of Seguin in Geronimo. I know a lot of people, a lot of development around Geronimo, a lot of people moving there, and you're getting hit by the worst part of the storm as we speak. That's where the worst part is. In Comal County, we're going to have, this warning is going to be expiring for Canyon Lake and Smithson Valley. And those of you in the Canyon Lake area, as you venture outside, please, stay safe now. It's just some rain coming down with some lightning. Once things feel safe for you, you can go outside, assess the situation, snap the photos, and upload them to KSAT Connect. That's on the bottom of our Weather Authority app. You have that option. Timberwood Park, some heavy rainfall. You hear some cracks of thunder, some lightning off in the distance. And now like we were talking about earlier this evening, here's that southward development all the way to 1604 on the far north side of town. This is Stone Oak, right? We've got Stone Oak here, moving into Reagan High School, possibly even some small pea-size hail right along Blanco Road at the moment. And then you get to 1604 and just some moderate to heavy rainfall on the southern end of Camp Bullis, moving into roughly the Rogers Ranch and Hollywood Park area. What's that, 1604 in Bitters? But that's not severe. So on the north side of San Antonio, far north side, not severe at the moment. We'll monitor for any more development. Our atmosphere is pretty worked over. However, there still is the off chance that a severe storm could develop. Bandera County, city of Bandera, all the way to Pipe Creek, you're under that severe thunderstorm warning. That storm is a little difficult to look at right now because the beam's shooting through a lot of rain. But either way, I'm going to switch radar sites for you. Either way, you could have some pockets of hail from Medina to Bandera, and then especially pockets of hail moving into western Bandera County. This is just east of Lakey. This is some large hail that's hitting Vanderpool right now. Vanderpool, you better just get away from the windows. Get away from the windows. This is some very large hail that's hitting Vanderpool. This is some serious hail. That could even be potentially egg-sized hail, maybe even larger. That could be 2 inches or larger size hail that's headed into Vanderpool. That wouldn't surprise me if it's even bigger than that. Yeah. In a minute here, we're going to go look at some of those photos and videos that you've submitted so far, that folks have submitted. But this is the worst part of this storm. Some gusts with it, 60 miles per hour, and of course the large hail that's headed right toward Vanderpool. This is far western Bandera County. That's far western Bandera County, and these storms are all moving to the east-southeast. They're all on the same trajectory at the moment. We'll see if this severe thunderstorm warning is allowed to expire or get canceled. And we'll keep an eye into Bexar County as we have more development in San Antonio. Fair Oaks Ranch, you're just getting the rain and thunder again. This is not severe right now in Fair Oaks Ranch. And by the way, I think our threat lasts through 2 a.m. when it comes to storms. The primary action is right here. We mentioned is Geronimo up to Zorn, along 123 Navarro High School. Actually passed that not too long ago driving, but this is along 123, which cuts north of I-10 and takes you to I-35. So Geronimo and Zorn, you're getting hit by the hail, and this is the area you need to stay indoors still. It's going to be a little while till it passes. Let me give you an estimate. The back edge of the worst part of the storm, it's not going to be that long, I'll tell you that. The back edge of the hail, you're talking 11:45. It should really start wrapping up right now in Geronimo and Zorn, but still, I mean, wrapping up, getting better for you. Whereas this hail is now moving east and is about to head toward Kingsbury. But the hail part of this storm is right there, along and now just east of Highway 123. And we're not even talking about the heavy rainfall within these and the potential for flash flooding. We've had issues downtown already from the heavy rainfall today in some of the typical locations, but also just in general because of the heavy rain that's collecting on the roadways. So this is now in the north side of San Antonio. We've got that development southward. Look at the radar over the past hour. What you see are the storms developing and then moving east. They develop and then they get pushed east. So it may look like they're moving southward, but really this is just southward development. And then that southward development just gets pushed eastward. And now we're seeing some areas of rain still around 1604, Timberwood Park, Bulverde, all the way down to 1604, Chavano Park, Hollywood Park, about to clip the airport again, and even toward Live Oak. And with these, you could have some wind gusts, maybe 40 miles per hour. But the primary threat is for our friends off in northern Guadalupe County, just north of Seguin. Warning expired for Bandera County. Still some little pockets of hail here, something to watch. This is headed toward Bexar County, but Vanderpool has, I think, the highest hail threat at the moment. That's where we have most of the hail. Let's get right in here. Scenic Oaks, Fair Oaks Ranch, Bernie Stage Airfield area. Could have some small hail, pea-size hail, non-damaging hail with this right now, just some heavy rain and honestly some good soaking rain. Definitely keeping you up, maybe spooking the kids, spooking the pets, spooking the fur babies, but the lightning and thunder still some new strikes, but this is not considered severe. This is not considered a severe storm, which would be damaging hail or winds 58 miles per hour or greater. That is not considered severe at the moment. Often you see me time out these storms. I'm not doing a whole lot of that because they're changing quickly and they're moving west to east but developing southward. But that one that's over Fair Oaks Ranch, we can give that a quick timeline. Excuse me. We can give that a quick timeline here. If it'll let me. There we go. All right, so that's headed eastward. And if you're in Bulverde, here we go. Bulverde, 12:02 a.m. Maybe even clipping Johnson High School in Stone Oak there at 12:06, Garden Ridge at 12:26, and then New Braunfels, should this hold together, you'll get another little round from that. I know New Braunfels, you're getting hit as it is, but New Braunfels, you could get that other round as well. New Braunfels, that other round would come later on. So this is all non-severe, not an issue. Not an issue here throughout San Antonio, just some good soaking rain, especially on the recharge zone. This is what we like to see. So earlier this evening with that severe thunderstorm, our atmosphere has worked over. It basically gets like flipped over essentially and stabilizes a bit more. So that should help inhibit any severe weather around town. We're just not counting it out. There is that potential up through 2 a.m. But it's nice to see this is garden variety thunderstorm activity in San Antonio. Some lightning and thunder, loud rain for sure, maybe some small hail, but right now at this time, 11:36 p.m., it's not posing a threat in terms of damage. Now, further flash flooding, yeah, that's a potential a concern. Anyway, the real lit up part of the storm, that's headed through Geronimo. That's what we have. I want to show you, here, before we do anything, I want to get to our future cast. Let's check this out. All right. That initialized well. Yeah, not even worth looking at in this situation, is it? No, it's not. We'll get back to some of this data in a minute. I want to show you some of the KSAT Connect photos and videos that were submitted by all of you. And hold on, sorry. Of course this happens right now, right? Come on, baby. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to access it straight through our website. You can access it through the KSAT Weather Authority app. That's how you can do it. You can get to it. And we're going to zoom this out a bit. Okay. And come down here. All right. High winds and hail at Canyon Lake. Check this out. That looks like a security cam at a RV place and maybe an RV resort, campground. Yeah, that's a Ring camera. Oh, showing it moving through. This is a view from inside the camper, looking outward. It's a little unsettling when you're in a camper, which are not the sturdiest structures when it comes to thunderstorms, unfortunately. And it's just a rainbow visible through the car windshield. Okay, let's look for others. Some of the hail by the door. Okay, this is Canyon Lake area. And this is the Canyon Lake area as well. It says some deer seeking shelter. Oh yeah, they are. There they are under the tree. You can see them there you go. As the light flashes, you'll see the deer there. There's the camper again. Heavy rain, lots of lightning and wind. New Braunfels still getting pummeled there. This video speaks volumes. Look at that video play. Look at that wind blowing, getting whipped around. Just whipped around. That's North Canyon Lake. And I'm not sure exactly what time that was, but they posted it 19 minutes ago. So thank you, Anne, for posting that. Wow. Ooh-wee. It's quite the storm you have to get through there. Damage here, it says Cedar Elm. Some damage that was, I believe it was around San Antonio. This is Spring Branch. And it just shows how hard the rain is coming down and probably a little bit of hail mixed in there with that. It's good to be going through here. Thanks for posting these, everybody. We really appreciate it. It helps us know what's going on and gives us that ground truth, what's happening on the ground, where you are and where the storms are. All right, now we're going to go back to the radar. Okay, so the only severe thunderstorm we have, and the only warning that's in effect right now, that's in northern Guadalupe County from Geronimo through Zorn, up through Martindale. Just take comfort in knowing Geronimo and Zorn, it's getting better now, okay? It's not going to get worse. The worst has passed. It's getting better for you. Looks like a lightning strike on the radome there at the National Weather Service, or at least nearby. So Zorn, it's getting better. Geronimo, it's starting to get better. Still not safe to go outside. Green, the worst is over with. Those of you stepping outside, Green, Canyon Lake, Smithson Valley, let us know what's happening. Post those photos on the Weather Authority app, KSAT Connect on the very bottom. It helps us know what's happening. This is all just run-of-the-mill heavy rainfall that's soaking areas from Bulverde to Schertz, Santa Clara, Marion, Selma, all the way around to Stone Oak, Hollywood Park, Chavano Park, and now building southward toward Alamo Heights and 410 Castle Hills. Getting clipped by that and the airport along with Windcrest. You're starting to see another batch of rain move in. Put some motion to this. These thunderstorms are developing southward. Then once they develop, they start drifting eastward. But that southward motion is mostly the new storms that are developing. And this is likely to continue to spread southward over the next couple of hours. And what we're also going to watch closely is this thunderstorm coming out of Bandera, as that was severe earlier, lost its luster a bit, but now it's starting to move into the Pipe Creek area. Not severe right now, but you're still going to notice it. And then we have to watch that closely because sometimes these redevelop and pop up and re-strengthen into severe storms. So this is the one we are watching very closely. Now, on a different note, let's talk differently here, okay? On a different note, let's look at rainfall. Oh, there's a new warning. Southern Bexar County, excuse me, not Bexar County, Bandera County. Southern Bandera County and northwestern Medina County for that large hail that's moving through Vanderpool at the moment. That's the new warning. However, let's look at power outages. We've had some issues because of lightning around San Antonio and surrounding areas. So Bexar County right now, outages, total customers without power, 22,000. That's about half the customers that were out of power just an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. It's about half. So we're at 22,000 customers without power in Bexar County. Up in Comal County, the latest reading is 600 customers without power. So that's the latest for the power outages. Wider view shows up I-35. You see where we've had more thunderstorms, more power outages stretching all the way to Tyler and even Houston. And it doesn't take high winds to cause these power outages. It'll happen just with lightning. Even if it's not a severe storm, you're going to get it even with just lightning. So that's that vantage point. But let's look at the rain we've gotten. Just in the past 12 hours, we've had some significant rainfall. And I've seen rain gauges, one in Pipe Creek of over 4 inches, and other parts just immediately around San Antonio of well over 2 inches. So you look at this yellow, and this is why we had flash flooding downtown. This is where most of the rain fell. 3.2 inches, 3.5 inches, 3.2. 3 inches. These are all estimated by the Doppler radar in those downtown neighborhoods, especially just north of downtown, but within 410. And then, even more significantly, get up near Pipe Creek in Bandera County and over toward Bernie along 46, and look at these accumulations here. Look at this dark orange near Pipe Creek, 4.2 inches estimated by the Doppler radar. And then I'm not going to forget you and Bernie. Looks like 3 inches or more. Yeah, 2.3. 2.3. Let's see if there's a 3-inch hit there. Nah, 2.7. About 2.5 inches along 46 in Bernie. Elsewhere, not quite as high totals, but we'll fill in. J-Ho, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be working GMSA.
Getting ready.
Oh, J-Ho. That's Justin Horne, by the way. We call him J-Ho. It's our pet name for him. J-Ho, the weather bro. All right, we got some video. That hail video from Helotes, that's from earlier today. Is that right, Claudia? Okay, this is from earlier today in Helotes. Then we're going to call up some TransGuide as we're... There we go. Okay. Listen to that, huh? All right, so that's what it looked like in Helotes earlier today. Obviously, that was before sunset, and now I've got the TransGuide up because you will see as it goes to a camera downtown, little issue in the lower levels where drainage can be a problem. And that little issue.
Can confirm. Car's still stuck down there.
Oh, wait, you were there? Did you go by it?
Drove past it, yeah.
Drove past it? Can confirm.
Can confirm. Water's still high, it just didn't drain.
Yeah, it's just not draining, right? That's the problem. Those drainage grates get clogged a lot, and that's what's very problematic in these situations. And I'm looking at some of this info. A new warning into Gonzales County now. You're in a new warning. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, possible. Okay. Let me get back to the radar for you guys. There you go. Justin, did you sleep at all?
Did.
You did?
Yeah.
Good. I wasn't waking you with my text to the weather team?
No.
Good. I always say, hey, just mute it or something, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, we all sleep different hours. I don't care if you text me at 6 a.m. when I'm sleeping, you know, 4 a.m. All right. There's that new severe thunderstorm, Gonzales. Hold on. That's till 12:45 a.m. because the storm's headed to the east-southeast at roughly at 30 miles per hour. So let's give you a time in Gonzales, 12:36 a.m. 12:36 a.m. Hold on, I'm going to give you the exact leading edge right there. 12:33 a.m. Okay, that 12:33 a.m. Let's just say 12:30 in Gonzales. Is that easier for you? 12:30? Yeah, 12:30. It's a good time. Yeah, still the biggest hail right now is that storm that's moving out of Vanderpool, headed into northwest Medina County. That's this right here, switching radar sites. Right near Utopia. Oh, Utopia, that's some large hail. That could have egg-sized hail, ping pong ball to maybe even egg-sized hail. Probably ping pong ball for sure within that. I don't think we have any observations there yet, but oh yeah, ping pong to golf ball size hail reported 10 miles north of Lakey at 11:05. So that's the history of this storm, having that sized hail. And looks like a little bit of hail moving through Pipe Creek. Right now, not considered severe, which would be 1 inch in diameter, but something to watch. You know, yard flooding in Leon Springs. Yeah, well, that's going to be the case. That was earlier today. But, you know, Justin, we're pretty worked over here.
Yeah.
So that helps us a bit.
You can just feel it outside. It doesn't feel convective like it did
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah. And let's see. Check this. We had a maximum gust at the airport of 37 miles per hour, San Antonio International, but 51 miles per hour at Lackland. And, well, Kelly Field, Kelly Field, 50, that was earlier today. All right, we're going to take a look at a few things and then we'll get back on here. Oh, sorry, we got the TransGuides up. Yeah, there's I-10 at Culebra. Looks like a lot of debris there from the water that has receded, but left in its wake that muck. See, that's the problem with those lower levels. It's hard to get them to drain properly. And I bet if they rebuilt those today, they would re-engineer the drainage in these. It's just one of those facts of life where it's so much debris and muck and dirt that gets shoveled over the little drain in a short amount of time that it just clogs it up. It's like, you know, dumping a bunch of sand in your strainer, right? And then filling it with water. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for it to soak all the way through. Or putting some towels in a strainer and filling it up. Still going to leak through, but it's going to take a while. All right. that's that. And what I love to see around San Antonio, nothing severe. Now, Justin, earlier, I'm waiting for more to come in from Canyon Lake. Let's go back in time here. Look at this over Canyon Lake. Okay, look at this. Right? This was
on the boundary.
Yep, right as the boundary hit. So look at that. So waiting for more to come in. We have some hail reports, but so far no photos of any significant hail. You know, but right now it does look like we've got some large hail redeveloping here, or large hail not redeveloping, but still within this thunderstorm that's just outside of, well, it's clipping Seguin, and the winds are moving right across I-10 out of Kingsbury. This is where we have the strongest wind. Let's go over there. What do you say? Oh yeah, there we go. Developing wind threat, Kingsbury and Luling. Yep. So that line as it sticks out, that bowing section is what's going to be packing a bit of a punch. And that could be easily a 60 mile per hour gust, maybe even higher. And this is what we're talking about, this bowing section that's sticking out. This is why we switched over to that base velocity, that area. Let me get rid of this junk on the screen and this junk as well, turning that off. All right, now we're just looking at the strong wind. We were looking at this earlier when we were looking for the twist. Now we're looking for the straight wind. Seguin, this highest wind area is going to stay east of you. However, Gonzales, you're downstream from it. So Gonzales, we were talking earlier about when it would make it. Let's say that puff of wind hits you, assuming it does, 12:29 a.m. That's when that strongest part of. So Justin, what I'm doing now with that is just accessing it through our website so all the videos come through.
I noticed that. It was perfect.
Yeah, opposed to the app.
There is a video of some high winds at Canyon Lake. If that's what you were looking for, you know, you were just talking about that.
Yeah, I showed that earlier.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and if you go back in time too, there's a lot of good ones from around. Good ones, relatively speaking.
Right.
I mean, there we have some new. Okay, I'm going to switch that over to there. Flash flood warning for Bandera, Bear, Comal, Kendall until 3:30 a.m. No surprise, but what we're watching here is the wind moving out of Kingsbury, crossing I-10, and that's headed east-southeast near Belmont to St. James to Smithville and Luling. So Luling to Belmont to Gonzales. That's where the big threat zone is for the wind with this thunderstorm. Not to mention, we also have some hail within it. Yeah, 70 miles per hour, yeah. Yeah, and possibly ping pong ball size hail within that. Seguin, you just have the general heavy rain, lightning. But yeah, the 70 mile per hour gust possible that just moved through Kingsbury. So is that a new one, Justin? I'm going to switch over here.
Yeah. This is video coming out of Green. It looks like surveillance video on someone's house, but you can see as the storm came in, how the winds really started to pick up and whip around the rain. And new warning coming out then for Bear County.
That's that cell we were watching, J-Ho.
Yeah.
Sorry for being so casual, y'all, but this is how we talk off camera, okay? Yes, so that's for this cell coming out of Bandera County. Remember we were talking about we need to watch this because sometimes these can pulse back up and redevelop. And that's what we're seeing right now. Australia. I'm sorry, I'm just reading.
Yeah, probably a little hail core there, and right over Medina Lake, really, or just north of it.
Okay. In Bandera, Uvalde. Okay, yeah, that's not out yet. I'm just going to adjust this on our screen. So now we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Bear County that got hit earlier today. Here comes round 2, y'all. Unfortunately, but here it comes. Round two's coming in, so now you are under a severe thunderstorm warning. Helotes, Gray Forest, all the way down to Alamo Ranch, areas where we've had tree and wind damage already. Where we've already had damage, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning, and that's until 12:45 a.m. We'll take a close look at this hail core and see what it looks like at the moment. But yeah, it's not even in there yet. All right. So Justin, these have been averaging like 30 miles per hour, give or take. I mean, we've been seeing them anywhere from 20 to 35, but I'd say about 30. So when you map it out, that's basically what we're seeing. So let's say this severe storm, for example. Now we can see it better. That purple area, that's just near Pipe Creek and Lake Hills, right? Near Medina Lake, that's headed towards San Geronimo. That's likely the hail. And remember, this could have a wind gust of about 60 miles per hour as well. So we can plot this, and here you have it. All right. So here we go. Gray Forest, it's 12:21 a.m. Northwest Vista, 12:27. UTSA, 12:30 a.m. Marshall High School, 12:33. Leon Valley, round two coming at 12:34. Ingram Park Mall, 12:36. Chavano Park, 12:38. You get the idea. That's within the warned area when that severe part of the storm is going to hit. That is for Bexar County. Right now, you don't have the storms within Bexar County, but it's moving in. The severe storm is moving in at this time. There's the lightning. It's very electrified. It just pulsed back up a little bit. And then we've got the severe thunderstorm for northwest Medina County as well, moving out of Bandera County for the Utopia area where we're seeing that. Otherwise, this is just run-of-the-mill rain. That's along I-35 and 1604 all the way down to Windcrest as well, and around Castle Hills, Terrell Hills, Alamo Heights. That's just heavy rainfall. That's not... Oh, Doug, here, we can break in a bit for that new one. Yeah, we can do that in a bit. Yep.
I just ran 2 warnings.
Okay. All right. Hey, Claudia, you back there? Claudia's back there. Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind, we're going to cut in for this one, okay?
And the Weather Service just basically reiterated what you just said, Adam. They're saying chance for quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds with this storm, which jives with what we're seeing. And I think it's worth also noting that even though we have a boundary coming through, a lot of times we would see a squall line, just a steady line of storms. That is not the case here. These are broken segments, and a lot of times you can get some stronger winds or stronger storms when you see the broken segments along the line like this.
Yeah, it's not organized into one big section. It's that broken line. They're all kind of their own individual storms rather than one long one connected and cohesive all together. So those of you in northwest Bexar County and San Antonio, you've got the new severe thunderstorm warning that is currently in effect. All right, and that's in effect until 12:45 a.m. And then the high wind gust and high wind threat is approaching Luling and Belmont. That's moving away from Kingsbury, but that Boeing section right there along I-10 is where we have that threat. Hello, Adam Caskey here along with Justin Horne with an update. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Bexar County and parts of Bexar County that got hit earlier today by some gusty winds where we do have some tree damage and even got hit by some hail earlier. Notice we have multiple warnings. These yellow boxes indicate the warnings that are in effect, and this is where they are. San Marcos to Luling, Kingsbury, Gonzales, Belmont. That's where we've got a high straight line wind threat. 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail potentially moving into northwest Bexar County. Putting the radar back on, you see a lot of lightning, all these little white strikes. Let's start with this thunderstorm that's moving through Kingsbury. This bowed out a little while ago and has potentially a wind gust of up to 70 miles per hour with that Boeing segment. Seguin, you are under the warning and you still have heavy rain, a little bit of lightning, but it looks like the worst of it has passed you and it's slowly going to get a little bit better. But our concern is this section of the storm is that your alarm to wake up, Justin?
Yes.
Wakey, wakey. Anyway, this part of the storm right here. See that big bright red color? Turn these off. Or I say this almost pink color. That's where we have some of the highest winds in this bowing section of the storm. And that's headed to the southeast. And that's headed toward city of Gonzales and even Belmont. That's headed toward Belmont. So we go the leading edge of that strong wind right there into Gonzales, 12:30 a.m. That's 16 miles away. That could hit Gonzales by 12:30 a.m. And even anybody just north of Gonzales along I-10, you're looking at 12:30 a.m. arrival as well. So that's the highest wind within that thunderstorm. We also have areas of hail as well, including this purple area that's right along I-10 headed to the east-southeast. Around San Antonio, no hail at the moment. We don't have the hail right now, just some heavy rain, lightning, and thunder. But at least we don't have any hail at the moment. However, we have to watch this thunderstorm because this severe storm is capable of producing hail the size of quarters, 1 inch in diameter. Now this hail weakened, it was severe earlier, weakened a little bit, and then just got stronger again as it approached Pipe Creek. Now this is moving through Medina Lake. It's good rain for the lake, not enough to fill it, but good rain for the lake. And this is headed to the southeast. I'm going to time it out for communities downstream. And just so you know when this severe portion of the storm is going to hit you. Brandeis High School at 12:25 a.m. SeaWorld at 12:29. Warren High School at 12:31. Chavano Park 12:35 a.m. And Medical Center at 12:36 a.m. So Medical Center, you have about a half hour until that makes it to you. This could pack a wind of 60 miles per hour and hail the size of a quarter, which is considered damaging. So that's what we have outside right now. We are live on the KSAT Weather Authority app. Excuse me. We are live on the KSAT Weather Authority app, tracking all of this, and we'll keep you updated there along with KSAT.com and on the KSAT 12 YouTube. We can go back again a little bit later, Claudia. Okay, a little bit later. Okay, got it. All right, we're going to look at some of the biggest hail that's out there. All right, hail time, and then Justin, if you want, you can take over for a bit, whatever.
Whatever you need, man.
Yeah, let's just, I know you're updating some stuff there, but let's get some hail. I know a lot of people would probably prefer another voice by now and somebody else, something a little different. Okay, so the hail potential here near Luling could be about golf ball size. Golf ball, 1 3/4 inches. And when you send us your reports or photos, compare it to a quarter. It's best to have coins, and quarters usually the benchmark. But anyway, so we watched as that large hail went from Canyon Lake toward Greene, toward Geronimo, Kingsbury, and now it's along I-10 and even Highway 90, and Highway 90 south of I-10 there. And that's the largest hail. This is right there along the interstate. So let's get a look at it. We'll go 3D. First of all, before we do that, we'll go just with the pink colors. This little cluster right there, that's the largest hail. Otherwise, we've got this, and I've been doing this a lot tonight. And let's redraw. and lift it up. And you see the slice of this storm. And unfortunately, it's got this flat top to it because it's so close to the radar site in New Braunfels. So the radars, they don't look all the way up. They shoot off at an angle like that. And as the curvature of the Earth, the beam gets higher in the sky the further away it goes from the radar site. Anyway, we can isolate just the hail, and that's what we're doing in this view. And it sticks up even higher than what's shown here. It sticks up even higher than that, getting rid of some of that junk. There we go. So this is just the hail part of the thunderstorm, and all this purple near the banner, that's all suspended up within the storm, because these hailstones, remember, they travel up and down and up and down and up and down as many times as they have to, and they grow every time they travel up and down. Every cycle they grow, and actually they get a new ring, kind of like a tree gets a ring every year. They grow, and then when the updraft can't sustain them, then they fall to the ground as a hailstone. And there are a few different, slightly different methods of the hail formation. You've got the dry method and the wet method, and it can make harder hailstones and softer hailstones. Anyway, slice this, and this is another aspect of just how tall, look at that, look how tall that hail swath is within this storm. Look at that, there we go. So, oh, see all that black area, all that suspended hail within the thunderstorm? That's what we have. This storm that probably reaches 50,000 feet or so. Anyway, this that's the largest part falling right there. And turn that off, go back to just that hail section. And we can get right inside the hail, move you right inside the hail, and look down on where it's falling too. Right along and just all around I-10 here is where it is. That's where it's falling, and then the worst of it approaching Nixon Road here. And we are flying through the hail as we speak. That's moving through the hail, and that's where it's hitting the ground. Not many roads out there that really pop up, but this is a pretty rowdy area of hail that could be the size of golf balls here. So
a lot of farmland out there, though, that can do some damage.
Absolutely. And never good for farmland or cattle or anything. We never want hail. But that black area, that's what's of most concern. So let's time out that black area, because that's some of the largest hail, the golf ball size hail that this storm is dropping. We've already talked, that's going to make it to Gonzales at about 12:30. Ah, jeez. Tim, if you're watching, I said 12:30. I think I need to reboot the hand tracker. It's getting slow on me.
You want me to reboot it for you?
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just saying. It's getting slow. Or it's the clicker. Or it's just me. Probably the latter of all those.
You've been working long hours, man.
There you go. Gonzales 12. Well, that hail part is Gonzales at 12:48. The gusty wind, which is before the hail, that's going to be even sooner. So between 12:30, 12:45, you're going to be getting hit by that in Gonzales. So that's the threat there. Okay. We also have San Antonio.
Looks like we have a new flash flood warning.
We do? Yeah.
It's going to go, this one may have already been issued, but it's going to go till 3:30 there for northwestern Bexar County.
Oh, yeah, I think they issued that. Yeah.
Issue a while back. Yeah, that's correct. So that may not be new. But they did issue, or the Weather Prediction Center is talking about the potential for now some flooding, especially southeast of San Antonio, as this really taps into some deeper moisture. So we're going to have to start worrying about that as well.
Yeah, southeast of town along the coastal plain, right? Where they've actually wiped away part of their drought from the last rain event we had leading up to Easter. But I don't think they'd complain if they got a little bit more.
Okay, they did just issue a flash flood warning now. This is the new one. This is for Bexar County, Medina County until 3:15.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're saying it wasn't Storm Prediction Center saying there's a X% chance of a watch coming out, as if we haven't been watching all darn day. Don't get me started on watches, okay? We've been watching since last night. We've been watching all day. Then, now there's a watch issued. It doesn't change the messaging, doesn't change the forecast, doesn't change what you can expect. What has changed right now in this storm is this little Boeing segment here that's headed into Helotes. So that's a little Boeing segment that we're watching. Could pack a 60-mile-per-hour gust. That little section that's starting to jut out a little bit. And we've got a little bit of hail scattered about here through San Geronimo, Government Canyon, over stretching almost to Leon Springs now. And Helotes, you're going to be first on deck to get hit by this. That's headed to Helotes. Let's say it holds together, and that would then make it to Castle Hills at 12:49 a.m. Let's give you Leon Valley. Leon Valley, 12:37 a.m. Helotes, it's on your doorstep. We can go back to I'm going to check that other warning. The other warning has been canceled. That's good. Where we had the wicked hail in Vanderpool, what looked like wicked size hail in Vanderpool, that warning has been canceled. Just some good heavy rain there up near Tarpley and southward north of Hondo. Anyway, this is the hail that we're watching moving into Bexar County now. We'll try to get fancy with it. Pop this up for you. Redraw our box. Make it nice and big there. Okay, so this thunderstorm is reaching up there. That's reaching 45, 50,000 feet is what it's looking like. And now we can get rid of that clutter, and just look at the biggest part of the storm where the hail's made. This is where the hail is within the storm. We talked about over San Geronimo. Well, yes. So this is the suspended hail that's up in the storm. And then this is where it's hitting the ground, right along the Medina-Bexar County line and just over into Bexar County along Bandera Road, Highway 16. You see new images coming in as it updates. We're getting those updates, those slices from the radar. They don't all come in at once, but this purple area, that's the hail. This is where it's hitting the ground, just about to move into Bexar County, and then some pockets of it actually within Bexar County. And there you have it. We're within the hail right now, within that hail. And that could be 1-inch diameter hail, potentially, which would be damage causing. But you see that's the only bit of hail within this storm, those accentuated areas that we have there. But this little Boeing part could pack its own little separate punch of wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. So that's a concern, especially where we've already seen some damage so far today on parts of the west side of town. But a lot of that was on the south and southwest side. There's an update with that hail section, and it wouldn't surprise me now if we start to get a little bit of that to be tracked. Yeah, there's that little bit of hail. This shows what could be some severe hail, and it's near San Geronimo. This is one of those situations, we always tell you, we don't know if it's going to hit your neighborhood until it develops. Well, guess what? Helotes, you've got hail headed your way. So yes, you've got another round of hail headed your way in Helotes. So this is making it to you momentarily in Helotes, and then around 1604, UTSA, the Rim, all the way down to SeaWorld. This whole area is under risk again for this potentially damaging hail.
Do me a favor, Adam. Let's check some rainfall rates there on the northwest side, because we're going to start to run into a flooding issue with this coming over kind of the same areas that saw the heavy rain. Was it about 3 hours ago now, 3 or 4 hours ago?
Good point. Rainfall rates, I'm guessing 6 to 7.5. Ooh, 7.6 inches per hour. That's significant. So 7 inches per hour in an area where we already had 7-inch per hour rain rates, and we've measured, let's see, according to Doppler radar, we've measured, oh man, look at that in Pipe Creek. Geez, that's grown quite a bit. But in this area near Helotes, we already have some pockets, especially where we had issues on 1604, especially in those construction zones where drainage often can become an issue. 2.4 inches of rain. Near Helotes, 2.1 inches of rain. But then add on top of that probably another couple of inches. And look at this, already around Pipe Creek, radar estimates nearing 5 inches, 5 inches. So this is going to add probably, I'd say, another couple of inches. Would you say that, Justin?
Oh, yeah.
Another couple of inches there. And,
entirely possible.
Yeah. And the backside of it, I'm not going to get into that until it really hits San Antonio, because I don't want to give you a misunderstanding of what I mean from the front side of the storm and the back side of the storm. Anyway, back to that thunderstorm over Luling. That's headed toward Belmont and Gonzales. Get ready for that gust of wind. We don't like what we see there. On the southern edge of it, could have some wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour as well. And that's headed from Guadalupe County, Seguin area into western Gonzales County at the moment. Mainly farmland, agriculture out in that area. So hopefully the crops that you have and livestock withstand this just fine. Quick look at power outages. I think we'll get more outages in parts of San Antonio as a result of this storm that's moving in, especially because of the lightning. And we'll go to the totals. And let's see. 20,000 in Bexar County, 20,000 power outages in Bexar County. We go up into Comal County and 600 power outages at the moment, at the time. All right, I'm gonna adjust the camera for you, Justin, if you wanna hop on, or if you have any pins we can go through.
We can go through some pins real quick. Let me see if I can pull those
All right, I'll show Transguide. It's moving around, but hold on. Okay, well, wait, there we are.
Yeah, so this is out of Kingsbury, Adam, and that's showing that heavier part of the storm you were just alluding to.
Yeah.
Some really strong winds there. You can see the winds are just whipping. We've got heavy rain, and that's that leading edge that we were first concerned about. Now we're kind of, we're not only watching that, but now we're watching this new segment, this new part of the storm that is coming into Bexar County. So, by the way, thank you for all the pins that are coming in. These are very helpful. I know we've said that a lot, but they really do help us when it comes to seeing what you're seeing and where you are.
It's out there. It's on the chair.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so let's zoom back in on what's going on here in Bexar County, because this is going to be the next concern as this little segment, this storm segment here starts to move.
Get a cutting going.
Okay, sounds good. It moves a little closer here to Bexar County, and a lot of lightning strikes, we know that, and we can also count the lightning strikes, so it's going to be very electrical. If you're waking up with us right now, maybe you went to bed and now the thunder is waking you up. Here is why. We have 283 strikes now. Now that's across the board here, but that storm in particular is very electrical. So Leon Springs, Helotes, Lake Hills, Medina Lake, you're hearing the thunder, you're seeing the lightning, and this is working its way into San Antonio. And as I was driving in just here about 30 minutes ago, there's still a ton of people on the road. So when it gets dark, we've got to be so careful about those notorious areas that flood, because you can't see how deep the water is. We know the lower levels of I-35 are closed, and for good reason. There's still a ton of water down there, but we're going to add to it now as this storm starts to move in. We'll put it into motion, and this is moving at a pretty good clip, so that's one thing we do have working for us, but because these are areas that already saw a ton of rain, that's why there is some concern. Now, we are seeing the intensity, the overall intensity of this storm sort of decreasing just a little bit as it moves into San Antonio. And the atmosphere did get worked over pretty well earlier. Perhaps that helps some, but this is still a severe thunderstorm as it moves off to the south and east. And we'll put another track on it here. Pause it and put the track on it as it moves towards San Antonio here. We'll say about 25 miles per hour. So some of the places we mentioned earlier: Chavano Park 1241, Clark High School 1237, Memorial High School 1248. Basically about 1230 to 1245 is kind of the window we're looking for as this moves into the heart of San Antonio. And we'll see if it kind of stays at its current intensity or maybe dies down a little bit. We'll keep our fingers crossed for the latter. But it is going to carry a lot of heavy rain. That much we know for sure, and that's why there is some concern when it comes to flooding. We have the flash flood warning in effect for Bexar County as well.
Can I show you something really quickly that we
Yeah.
just got in case that connects?
Yeah, please do.
Try and check this just to mix it up a little bit. This was a tree struck by lightning, and you'll see this very indicative of a lightning strike there. Look at the burn
Oh, yeah.
at the bottom. So this becomes an issue, and it's not always wind that topples the trees. It can be the lightning as well. Sorry, okay,
Absolutely.
back to the
That's fantastic video. And these storms have been so electrical. That is
That
just
was
one
earlier
concern.
today. Yeah, that wasn't now.
The initial storms that came through. And boy, it was dark when those storms came through. It was so much heavy rain. And the timing was not great for Fiesta. We know that. But the rain was a very, very good thing to see. And Adam just showed this, but I'd like to do this again, and that is to show the rainfall rates with this cell that's moving into Bear County, because the concern becomes now, if you get some heavy rain on top of what we saw earlier, and this is taking a similar path to the earlier storm, then you really have to be concerned for flooding. And where you see these purple colors, that's where we're getting 5 to 6, maybe even 7 inches per hour. That is very heavy rain. Now these numbers are starting to come down just a little bit as this moves into northwest San Antonio. But the flooding, I think, is just a real problem. And we just got an update here. So let's put it back to radar. And it does look like it's holding its intensity for the moment as this moves into the northwest side. So let's zoom in and show you exactly where the heavy rain is now. So Helotes, just starting to come down. You're hearing it at your house. Very, very heavy rain, very electrical. And those lightning strikes, well, you just saw what can happen. So we've got to be very careful with that. If you're planning to be out and about tonight, well, don't do it. Just stay home. I know it's late, but like I said, there was a lot of people out. I was surprised. I-10 here, you get to the rim up to Leon Springs. There is some very, very heavy rain that is falling now, and that's going to compound some flooding issues. And there we just got one more update. So this is moving in around UTSA, Brandeis High School, crossing over 1604 near Taft High School. If you're watching us from Alamo Ranch on the far west side, you're starting to get the heavy rain. That was an area that was hit pretty hard earlier. Northwest Vista, there's the rain for you, and next in line is going to be Leon Valley. Helotes, starting to see the intensity pick up a little bit more actually there. So let's check in on some of the threats that may be involved with this storm. We've been talking about the hail, of course, the heavy rain, but where you see that purple color, 1-inch hail, that would be quarter-size hail, which can do some damage, and that's why there is a severe thunderstorm issued for this storm, not only for that, but potentially some very gusty winds.
And really quickly, I'm going to go over again, just keep this mixed up a little bit. Check this out. This is out of Canyon Lake earlier. This is that wicked thunderstorm that moved through with large hail. And I still have yet to see a confirmation of the largest hail and what the radar made it look like it could have been.
Sure.
We don't have the ground truth yet, but obviously there's a high quantity there. And as we let this play, you'll watch how the wind just picks up a little bit more. Yeah, there we go.
Wow.
See, and this was earlier.
Yeah.
Look at that. That was when the worst of it came through Canyon Lake. This is near the Lake Canyon Yacht Club. Lake Canyon
Yacht Club.
You can say that.
We got you, man. We got you.
That's on that northeastern shore, not far from the dam.
Yeah, man, it's just coming down in sheets. And you see you're right, the high quantity of the hail. And you know what? We'll take that over large hail. Honestly, we'll take that. And if we can get, large amounts of hail, that's okay. You don't want the quarter size or larger, though, because that's when you start to do some damage. I had a neighbor ask me today, hey, we're going to get hail tonight. What should I do with my car? Man, if you can get it in the garage, do that. If you can't, there are some things you can do, but the best part is the best thing you can do is just to give it some cover, because again, hopefully we don't get 1-inch hail or larger where you are, but it is a possibility, and that can sometimes do some damage to the car. And it was very interesting listening to Adam earlier, if you were watching his earlier broadcast, talk about sort of the density of hail and what it's made up. The clear ice is sometimes more dense and can do a little bit more damage. So there's a lot of factors that go into what sort of damage hail can do. Well, let's get back to radar here. And really, yes, I think there's some hail mixed in here right around the Helotes area, but really this is just a swath of very, very heavy rain and a lot of lightning and probably some wind mixed in there too. So this is the one segment that's coming through San Antonio. When you get these segments too, you run the risk of getting some very strong winds where it bows out right here. I would imagine around SeaWorld, maybe moving into Leon Valley, we could be getting some pretty strong winds, and we can switch it over.
You want to see some of the winds from earlier too?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is about similar to what's moving into the rim right now. So this was the rim earlier today. You see Six Flags there.
Okay, yeah.
Or La Cantera area.
Sure.
Whatever.
Wow.
Look at that, just coming by in sheets.
And you can't really compare it, but it sort of looks like a hurricane just
I know,
watching
right?
the rain just.
It's sideways. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and let's switch over to wind detection here and see if we can look at some of these winds. Probably pretty strong leading edge of winds right there, as I mentioned, moving into Leon Valley. And you're going to get the winds initially, then some very heavy rain, and again, possibly some hail out of this as well. We're still looking at about 184 total strikes here, so it's lighting up across the city of San Antonio right now. Let's look at the big picture. Here is the boundary that is sparking all this right there. And so it's just behind that boundary where we're seeing these segments of storms that are really packing a punch. This one out to the west over Medina County does not have a warning on it, but it likely is still putting down some really heavy rain, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some small hail in there. Just north of Highway 90, if you're watching us from Hondo, you're just kind of getting the tail end of it, but you are getting some rain out of it, and that too is moving southeast. So Castroville, be prepared for this storm as it comes in. So you've got one big thunderstorm there, another one in northwestern Bexar County that is warned, and then we've been also tracking this area of storms stretching from Luling down to, say, the Lavernia area, just north of Lavernia. That too is tracking south and east, and it also has a warning with it. So folks in Gonzales, very close to seeing some of these storms move in. And it's right here where Adam was talking about earlier, where you see this black color right here. That is probably some sizable hail. I would say 1 inch or larger, just looking at that and making an educated guess. Oof, could even be a little bit larger than that. Let's see. This is showing 3-inch plus size hail. Okay, that could be a little overestimation, I would imagine. But if you're watching from Gonzales, let's be careful here, because this larger hail will be working towards you. In fact, let's put it back to radar and kind of track where that main core is headed. If you put it into motion here, you can see the motion is generally east-southeast, so this probably takes it towards the Gonzales area. And with Adam, these storms moving about, you'd say they're 30 miles per hour or so?
Yeah, 25 to 30 typically.
Yeah.
So mark it at about 30 just in case, you know.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get it paused here, and we can track that for you. We'll see. It may not be long enough, but
yeah, it's good enough.
That works. Gonzales, about 12:52 a.m. That's when you can expect kind of that core of
quickly. Sorry,
your storms.
I'm gonna mess up your tracking just really quickly.
No, please
okay?
please do.
I just want to do a setting here, and while we do that, actually check out this video. Oh,
you knew that would happen, man.
God, every time.
The Wi-Fi.
Every time. Every time. Hold on, we'll get back to it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But right there, guys, that's the leading edge of this storm. So Luling down to Lavernia and Seguin. Well, it's past Seguin, so you are actually kind of in the clear in Seguin. You're still getting some heavy rain, and there may be somewhat of a street flooding threat there.
Oh my God. Okay, never mind.
It's still doesn't want to work for us. We'll get there. We'll get there. A lot of great storm pins, or I should say KSAT Connect pictures coming in. And let's see if we can clear everything here. And Adam, I don't know if you messed with the setting there. It looks like we're lost a little bit of hand tracking.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're
I
good.
Did. Now it should be good.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, Lavernia, that rain's coming in there. But let's get back to this storm in Bexar County, because I think this is kind of the one that is really sort of impacting large population right now. And that is along 1604 on the northwest side.
Yeah, it looks like the hail blossomed a little.
Yeah, it did. That right there. So right along 1604, in fact, there's Bandera Road right there. And we can zoom in a little bit closer. Brandeis High School, probably some hail coming down. Small hail, but it could be up to quarter size, I would imagine, where you see some of this purple color. And then further down 1604, just south of Bandera Road, seeing some reflectivity there that would indicate perhaps some larger hail and maybe some gusty winds there. This is also moving into the Clark High School area. If you're familiar with this part of San Antonio, I-10 Medical Center's down here, and you'll be receiving the rain pretty quickly. So again, this is moving about 30 miles per hour off to the south and east, and just the way it's looking right now, this is going to cover a large portion of San Antonio here over the next hour or so and compound our flooding issue. Lower level of 35 is closed as you're going westbound because there's high water, a drainage issue. I mean, we showed you the TransGuide earlier, and you can see that the drains are probably clogged, and it's just not draining well. And that's probably an issue that we're not only having, it's not just unique to I-35, probably a lot of spots, because we see that when we have long droughts, the drains get clogged and the rain doesn't, the water doesn't come out of here well, it doesn't flow out. Okay, it looks like we've got a new warning, and that's for that storm in Medina County I was talking about. We mentioned it, it could be close to a severe thunderstorm, and indeed it has now been issued for that. And a storm, that particular, let's see if we can get the lightning strikes off. Take the warnings off, put it back on. That warning is going to go until 1:30 a.m. Does include Medina County, and that probably does stretch down into parts of southern Bexar County and also northern parts of Atascosa County. And it's going to go until 1:30 a.m. And it shows that southeasterly motion. So basically what we were talking about there, and we can put a track on this one as well. We'll clear off the warnings, get some of the clutter off, and put this track, we'll put it about 30 miles per hour here. And so this will take it through Castroville to be there soon, 1246, Medina Valley High School, 1251. If you're watching us from Poteet this morning, about 1:40 a.m. And I would say if you're south and east of these storms, that we need to be on the lookout tonight for flash flooding. We mentioned that this is going to start to tap into some really good moisture. And so these can become very efficient rain producers, and you can get some flooding pretty quickly. I know we've been in a drought situation, but those south of San Antonio actually have gotten some pretty good rain as of late. And so there is going to be a risk for flash flooding. And we hate flash flooding when it happens at night, because so many people try to drive through floodwaters that you can't see how deep it is, and that can lead to disaster. So just be super, super careful tonight. Well, let's look back at this storm here in Bexar County. And if you look at that, we've got some really high reflectivity now right along Bandera Road, right near Leon Valley. And I would imagine this is an area where we're probably starting to see some hail. The question will be what size. And we've seen pretty consistently some small hail up to quarter-size hail. This is showing 2-inch hail. Might be a little bit high when it comes to the estimation, which would take us into maybe like hen egg size hail, a little bit larger than maybe golf ball. But that is possible. We don't want to completely count it out. So if you're near Bandera Road, near Leon Valley, prepare for some hail, because I think this storm is probably at least producing some pea-sized hail as it comes through, but it could be larger than that. And we know once it gets to quarter-size hail, that's when you start to take on some damage. And this is an area, if I'm not mistaken, Adam, that did get some hail with the initial storm a little bit earlier today, correct?
Yeah, it did. They got hit with this storm earlier today, to a different extent, but yes. And right now, the hail's right along Bandera Road 16, and yeah, they did, and they definitely got hit earlier. But this is slightly different stratification of the actual hail.
Yeah.
But they got hit with the winds as well earlier today.
Sure, yeah, and of course the heavy rain. So this is moving in along 410 now too. This is making some pretty quick work as it moves through San Antonio, and it is starting to work now towards the 410 corridor. And now you're going to start to see some heavy rain. Already are seeing some heavy rain around the medical center. And so let's point out some of the places that are right out ahead of this heavy rain. That's Jefferson High School, Memorial High School, Holmes High School. The rain is just starting to come down. So now right along 410, and that area where we could be seeing some hail is now stretching down to 410. And we're seeing some higher reflectivity here, really just north of the medical center. So there could be some small hail here, just east of Oklahoma State, south of Clark High School. For those traveling along I-10, they're probably encountering some very, very heavy rain and some small hail and a lot of electricity here. These storms are lighting up and probably waking up quite a few. So if you're just waking up with us, we'll do a little bit of a reset here and let you know that we are tracking these storms on the KSAT weather app. Adam has been here for many, many hours. After some storms earlier today, we are now seeing another round along an outflow boundary that is working south just through San Antonio and producing more severe storms. And I'll put the warnings back on here, and you can see that we have a warning for this storm here and then another one in Medina County, both of which are moving south and east. And then additionally, we've been watching this storm most of the night, which is still probably producing some very strong winds. The reflectivity is down just a little bit on this storm. Well, I say that. You look a little closer here, probably not. This is still likely putting down some really sizable hail here just east of Highway 80 as it works a little bit closer to the city of Gonzales. So those are the three kind of segments, or well, it's getting jumpy on me here. Three kind of storm segments that we're watching, and there we just heard the thunder here at KSAT. So we know this storm moving a little bit closer. And we'll go back to rainfall rates. We need to talk rainfall too. On top of the hail, on top of the wind, we're getting some very heavy rain. And it has been a long while here in San Antonio since we've had to deal with flooding rainfall, but here we are. And it's Fiesta. Some people, I know Fiesta was canceled, but some people are out late tonight traveling these roads, and it may not be the best idea. Where you see this purple color, that's where you're running into 6-7 inch rainfall rates. Doesn't mean you're going to get 7 inches of rain, because this is not going to sit here for an hour, but that is enough rain to cause some street flooding, especially considering what we saw earlier. There's still saturated ground, there's still water on some of these roads, and the internet still doesn't want to work for us. We'll eventually get you some pictures that are coming on KSAT Connect, and we've been getting many showing us the conditions, which is great. There we go.
That's rain gauge there of about 2.5. Doesn't say exactly where, but it looks hilly, I would guess, the northwest side of town.
Yeah, it looks hill country-esque.
Yep. We go through some more of damage here.
And I was at, the airport didn't get as much rain as San Antonio did, but the airport will get more with this second round. Yeah,
I've got that 0.81 right now at the airport.
Yeah.
Not too shabby, but we'll add more to it.
Sure.
I'm looking at some of the observations. Leon Springs, this is one of those EAA gauges along the creek. 1.79 inches over the past 12 hours. And then just to the west in a neighborhood between Bandera Road and 1604, 2.17 inches of rain.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all. So this is some good soaking rain. Obviously a little too much of a good thing at times.
Sure.
Near Government Canyon, geez, anywhere from 1.9 to 1.3. Yep.
Yeah. Good numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we don't want the severe weather, but we will take the rain. It has been so long since we've seen rain like this. And these are the pictures that are coming in on KSAT Connect. We're actually on our website. So what you can do, you can go to ksat.com and you can scroll through all these photos. And we've seen a ton of tree damage, it seems like. And that may be due to lightning strikes, but also very gusty winds. And
Alamo Ranch earlier.
Oh, look at that. Man, that is blinding rain. That is not fun to drive in. And those wind gusts.
You've been in Cat 4s and stuff before. I mean, I know that's not the same wind, but
it looks the same,
doesn't it? The look of it.
Same feel. I mean, listen, we don't know exactly how strong those winds are, but you could estimate that's probably in the range of 50 to 60 miles per hour, somewhere up there, and that can sometimes do some damage. And it's just driving sheets of rain, not fun. And we're seeing that again tonight.
Yep, that's all from earlier.
Okay.
Try to call up. Just gonna try to get that one to play. I'm having issues with it playing, but there we go.
Says I was not expecting this when I opened up the door. I bet not. Yeah, that's.
Yep, probably kind of forced the door shut. So yeah,
Probably.
You're talking about those. I do have some rain gauges from earlier today.
Yep.
I want to try to find it, and as you see a lot of lightning photos and more tree damage. Limbs knocked over, limbs knocked down. Come on. But there we go. Okay. There's one of just about 1.5 inches on the south side. And then here we go. By Rigsby, by Comanche Park, off Holmgren, that's already over 1 inch.
Looks like my rain gauge has a lot of oak in the bottom. Still got to clean it out.
a lot of pollen still left over. Got to scrub that out of there.
Yeah.
So that's what we have for that right now. So, and then really quickly, TransGuide, look at that I-10 at Calabria, muck left over.
Look at all that. I mean, that's a ton of debris. And that car right there, I drove by, it's stuck. It's like it probably tried to drive through the waters. Hopefully everyone's okay, but I think they're trying to figure out how to get that car out of there. Now the problem is they've probably been trying to clean some of these drains and drain some of that water, but now we're going to get another dose.
Yeah.
And I would expect these folks are probably just going to get out of the way and hope that maybe things drain a little bit better with this next round of rain. Now see, this is the westbound lanes of I-10. This is the eastbound lower levels still open. But I would tell you, as this rain comes in, we might want to avoid the eastbound lanes too.
Yeah, let's get back to the hail assessments out there too.
Let's do that.
The reflectivity and take a look. I do think there could be some large hail out there. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I said that and I didn't press that.
No, you're good. Let's switch it back to the radar real quick. And
yeah, that's a pretty good little swath of hail that we have there. Pretty good as in big, so
sure.
Not good. Y'all know what I mean by that, but some large hail is what I'm saying. That purple area, Leon Valley stretching over to Medical Center.
Yeah, our hand tracking's acting a little wonky.
Okay, let me try something quickly, okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right, you might have to step off.
Yeah.
Quickly.
But yeah, what Adam's talking about there is west of Oakland Estates, west of Medical Center. That's a neighborhood right there, and you're probably seeing some hail. This came from 604 in the Helotes area, is kind of working south and east. That's a little hail core there right around Leon Valley. And if you're not seeing the larger hail, you may be looking at just large amounts of small hail, and it's loud. It is probably really loud if you're down there along 410 and right there along Bandera Road. Yeah, thank you for zooming in there, Adam. So there's Evers Road there, there's Huebner, and what is that, Desilu Drive. Right in there is where we're probably getting some of the larger hail, if we're seeing that at all. Where you see that higher reflectivity, yeah, that's where the hail's probably getting pretty sizable. Probably up to the size of quarters. We've seen reports of that.
It's been confirmed now.
It's been confirmed, so there you go.
Northwest Bexar County, yeah.
Do you have a location on that confirmation, Adam, or is it just a
no, not right now. It's
random
just
spot?
A random confirmation.
Okay, perfect. So we know it's there. We know it's there. And anywhere you see this purple color, you have to start to be concerned for hail. So there's 410 right there. This is now starting to work south of 410. We just got a radar update. So our next alert's going to be here for Balcones Heights, right there at 410 and 410 and I-10, right around that interchange there. That's right where TransGuide is too, but you're going to get maybe some hail out of this as well. And if we've got confirmation of quarter-size hail, I would say expect that. And that's the size, that's the threshold that we use for not only severe storms, but because that quarter-size hail can often just be large enough to start doing some damage. And make sure you keep records of this, write it down, know that this is the date, because inevitably, if you do have some damage, the insurance companies are going to want to know that and take some pictures if you can safely. And so you can also send those in the KSAT Connect so we know what's going on where you are. But that is where the heaviest of the storm is now starting to move in. And what we can do is tell you that if you're in Helotes, you are now on the backside of this. So your threat has ended. And I would say that now you're probably going to see some pretty quiet weather. We could see another thin line of some showers coming through tomorrow morning, but you're probably going to get a break for at least a little while. As you look back behind this, there is nothing.
Yeah, look at that. So the extent of that warning for the rest of San Antonio, Bexar County, you see that even down into Floresville, and also that Boeing segment near Castroville.
Yeah,
some hail on the north end of it.
Let's take a look at that. Yeah, so we've got one segment here, one here, and what Adam's talking about is this Boeing segment right here. So Castroville, you're starting to get some very, very strong winds. In fact, they've already arrived. And we'll look at base velocity here, and we can get an idea of kind of where the strong winds are right there. Right where you see that darker green color, that's where you're probably getting some stronger winds coming in. And again, this storm is moving south and east. So Lacoste, Somerset, Lytle, all areas that will be sort of in the line of potential strong winds and maybe some hail as well. The hail core is a little bit further back where we're looking at maybe just west of Rio Medina. And also, again, very electrical. That goes without saying at this point that these storms are going to carry a lot of lightning. And this is moving southeast still at about 30 miles per hour or so. So right there's the heaviest of the storm. And this is going to work into far southwestern Bexar County as well. So we can go ahead and put a track on this once again. We did that a little bit earlier, but let's get an update. Heaviest of the storm right there. We'll give it at about 30 miles per hour. And so Medina Valley High School, 12:50 a.m., Southwest High School, 1:10 a.m., Somerset, 1:16, Pleasanton, 1:56. That's when you can expect heaviest part of this storm to move into where you are, and potentially northern Atascosa County, maybe parts of Wilson County a little bit later. But right now, the imminent threat is in Medina County, and we're worried about wind right there on the leading edge, and then some hail on the back side of that, so north of Castroville, and right around the Rio Medina area is where we're probably picking up some sizable hail. This is mainly a rural area, but the hail can do some damage, especially if there's farmland involved there. It can do damage to crops. Let's get back over to San Antonio. And this is the storm that we've been following here over the last hour. It does have a warning on it. It's going to go for a while longer. We've cleared the storm in Helotes. Next in line would be 1604, but this is working towards downtown San Antonio. And these are areas, man, that were hit by that storm earlier and now getting hit again. Especially here on the city's west side, Memorial High School, Jefferson High School. These are places that took on that thunderstorm earlier with the hail, the gusty winds, and the heavy rain. And in fact, what I want to do very quickly is look at rainfall estimates, because we're now adding on to the very heavy rain that we saw earlier. And we can take a look at some of the estimates here. We see this yellow color, we're talking 3 inches, but you know what, we're going to add to that. I would imagine we're going to go well over 3 inches as this storm comes in, and we can hear the thunder now here at KSAT. So we know the storm's getting a little bit closer to downtown too. Lightning and thunder really spreading over a large portion of San Antonio at this point. So we'll zoom out, and you can see where the swath of heavy rain was, stretching from Bandera down to San Antonio. And now this storm is kind of following along that track. And so where we had the 3-inch totals here just west of downtown, we're going to add to that. Pretty impressive.
It looks like it's just following it perfectly, in a perfect way.
Correct.
To
Yeah.
just compound that heavy rain and that flash flooding.
Yep.
That's been going on in parts of downtown. The hail's a little more unorganized there, but there is some hail with that. And it also looks like down near Lackland, where we had some of the higher winds earlier, from the west side SeaWorld down toward Lackland, is where we could have some of the high winds, higher winds still in that little Boeing segment.
Yep, right there. And this is kind of the same structure that I just showed you there in Medina County. We get the Boeing segment down here to the south, and then north of that is where you have sort of the hail core right there, right along I-10. Either side of I-10, you're getting very heavy rain, but probably some hail too. 281, I'd say that's kind of the cutoff right now. So in between 281 and 10, we're getting probably at least some small hail, but it could be larger than that. We have had reports of quarter-size hail. And there is another radar update for you. We're getting these pretty rapid. Just took a power flash there. So we know there's a lot of lightning here around San Antonio, downtown San Antonio, I should say. And of course, KSAT Studio is about right there. And we are getting a ton of lightning where we are right now. We'll check here in a second to see if there's any hail falling where we are. We're not seeing the reflectivity over us just yet, but it's headed in our direction. And we'll take a little closer look here at sort of the Pearl area starting to move in. And where you see these purple colors, that's where you could see some of that up to quarter-size hail. 281, the curve right there. When it gets wet, man, that is such a dangerous curve, so take it slow. You're out traveling, but hopefully people are just at home.
You want to see some pics and videos?
Yeah, let's do it.
You ready for that? Okay.
Let's do it.
Oh gosh, seriously.
Are you surprised?
Every time. Every time. Our friend Greg is watching, and he would always say that whenever it hits it. Every time.
Well, there's a look at live cam, man, and it is lighting up out there. The lightning is rapid. We're seeing a lot of it, and there's a look at 410 there, and you can see the roads are wet, obviously, and we're likely getting some ponding on some of our major freeways. When you get this sort of rain, the rainfall rate 6 to 7 inches per hour, that's when some of the freeways start to take on some water. The spots that the water starts to pile up, especially where the drainage has issues, that's where you run the risk of hydroplaning. You can hit some of those deeper puddles and it causes your car to kind of steer off. So That's the situation we're in right now. Let me take you west of downtown. Probably seeing some small hail here. This is near South Hamilton Street, and just updated, so near Lanier High School, and this is Trinity Street right here, and that's where some of the really heavy rain is right now. And this is starting to push south now into southern parts of San Antonio. So I-35, Highway 90 right there, good heavy rain along Nogalitos, and then stretching down towards even 1604 at this point. So we're starting to see this advance pretty quickly out to the south, and it looks like we're more or less kind of joining forces here with this other storm here in Medina County. We've had these bowing segments and likely some good strong winds right here along this leading edge. So Palo Alto College, this is 410. You're getting some very, very strong winds out ahead of it. So that's threat number one. Then that's followed up by very heavy rain, and then followed up by potentially some hail that we're still watching just west of I-10, and then north of, just west of 281, north of downtown. So we got some pictures coming in.
Oh yes. So this is this newest batch. This is this evening. It's hard to tell because when there's so much lightning, it can be bright out.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And the camera's upside down. Oh, and walking inside. I'm going to skip along before they didn't know that we were still recording there. It looks like it's after dark, but with the lightning, it gets loud. Then the light turns on outside. That's why it's
the
bright.
water coming off the roof.
Yeah, and there are gutters there too.
Sure.
And it's still coming down like that.
Incredible.
And sometimes those gutters can get clogged with the hail. It'll often spit out some of the hail. But anyway, that's just a good illustration of how heavy that was coming down. And it wasn't pinned, but I would venture to say that was northwest side of town.
Yeah.
Maybe Helotes, maybe 1604 Bandera Road area. This was 1604 in Braun. A lot of hail. That's generally smaller size within the picture there. And here's another example of hail coming down, some heavy rain. Give this a moment. And this is Helotes, so that's confirmed that this was Helotes. And I want to remind everybody, a flash flood warning for Bandera, Barranquilla, Kendall, and Medina counties until 3:30 a.m. So issues due to the heavy rainfall. Pea-size hail at Culebra and Westover Hills. It's hard to see it because that's concrete. And
Sure.
the hail blends in, but you can see it falling.
Well, it's good that this hail is staying below that quarter-size threshhold.
Yeah, a lot of it is, but mixed in with some of those, you could have a little bit of that. And this is a view from, looks like an apartment building of the Bandera and Eckert.
Yeah.
Sounds like we've got heavy rain and a little bit of hail here. And one thing I'm noticing, see the little bits of debris, the leaves, the twigs? That's a sign of hail, of course.
Yeah.
You get that residual debris from it. And then bye-bye fence, don't know the exact location. But also look at the ponding of water, just the heavy
Part of the fence
rain.
gone right there, and then you have the rain. Yeah, and all those new oak leaves that were there now are maybe gone in some cases. Okay, so that hail core is now moving in right around downtown, and we can hear it here. Sounds like there's some small hail coming down outside if my ears are not deceiving me. And right there, so 35, you know where this is, downtown. There's the fine silver curve right there. It's this corridor, actually KSAT's right here. So we've got hail probably coming down outside, at least some small hail. What size is it?
Pea-size?
Pea-size hail. So we just got confirmation, Claudia, thank you so much, of some pea-size hail coming down here at KSAT. And that has generally been the size, but as Adam pointed out, mixed in with that, you can get some larger hail, some quarter-size hail, and that's the kind of hail that may do some damage. A little more disorganized now. Again, kind of focus on that purpley color. That's probably where you're seeing some of this hail, and that's now stretching towards the AT&T Center. So focus on the east side now. Houston Street here, AT&T Center, I-10, and there's a Martin Luther King Drive right there. You're getting some of this hail now, and it is loud. If you're waking up with us and just joining us, this is what's going on. We have a severe thunderstorm warning coming through San Antonio on top of that storm we saw earlier this evening. So we've had a couple of rounds here. A lot of lightning with this. And we've got some hail and some strong winds to boot. So a lot happening here. What I can tell you as this whole cluster of storms is working southeast at about 30 miles per hour.
Hey, Justin, do you hear that?
I can hear it. So Adam has just stepped outside. And
Well, I'm not outside. I'm just opened the door.
Sure.
And we've got a big overhang here. I'm basically within the building, but this illustrates how loud it is. So waking a lot of people up, of course. If you are waking up, yes, we do have severe thunderstorm warning in effect. And I'm going to close the door. There we go. Justin, I'll pass it over to you. Just let me know whenever you want to switch out if you're getting a little tired or fatigued with that.
Sure.
If you need to take a seat, take a drink of water, just holler.
Yeah, did you see any hail out there, Adam?
A little bit, yeah. Small. Yeah,
Yeah.
small. I've been through enough hailstorms here that I've kind of calibrated the noise to hail size on our roof because we have that flat roof.
Sure.
And you can tell usually, and it's generally on the smaller side.
So 447 total strikes right now, and 25 positive strikes, 420 negative strikes. But
And get ready for more power outages.
that's a very good point, and we can look at that here in a second and see if we do have some power outages here around San Antonio. We can check the CPS outage map, and we have the outage map on here. Adam, you're going to remind me where?
Yeah, if you just click on our EWX radar.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
Yep, and then go to
Power out
total. Yep, and that's total customers.
Yep. And so.
Yeah, that might show the warning.
Oh yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, just do that part.
Let's see. Let's clear it. 18,000. Yep. So that's a pretty big number.
Yeah, and actually, I just checked with CPS on here on their outage map, and that's 21,000.
Okay.
So our numbers jive.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not surprising. You see the amount of lightning strikes. So these white lines represent where we have lightning strikes, a whole cluster out here around Castroville, but also all across Bexar County. We are seeing lightning right now. And just because you're not in the heaviest part of the storm does not mean you're not seeing lightning. These lightning strikes can stretch well behind the storm, too. So keep that in mind. We do want to mention that Helotes, Leon Springs, you are now in the clear. We're probably going to see quieter conditions the rest of tonight. Leon Valley, you're just on the edge of the heavy rain. It'll be moving on quickly. Same with SeaWorld. But the rest of San Antonio is still dealing with this very, very heavy rain. And we're still getting some of that high reflectivity right over downtown. So likely some hail coming down here where we are. Pea to quarter size hail possible with this kind of swath that stretches from downtown over to the east side there along 410 and further south and east. So this kind of area, Highland Park over to 410 and south along I-37, I would say you're next in line to see potentially some hail. And then we were also watching the gusty winds, although this does not look as impressive to me, sort of that leading edge of winds. What does is this leading edge, it's now moving into Lytle, an area that did get hit pretty hard by some storms earlier. Adam, as you were watching those storms earlier this afternoon and this evening. So this is kind of clustering together more or less, but a lot of rain here across parts of Bexar County. And what I don't want to do is leave out the north side and northeast side here because we are getting some pretty heavy rain right over the airport. And this stretches up to Windcrest and Live Oak, and you can hear some of the small hail once again coming down here at the station. But it kind of tapers off once you get up to Madison High School, Live Oak. But south of there, Converse, moderate to heavy rain, and then it really picks up as you get into the heart of San Antonio here and right over downtown. And here's some more video coming in.
Posted 1 minute ago, so I would assume somewhere around within 410.
Yeah.
Somewhere near downtown
Almost
within
looks like
410.
it's snowing.
Right?
That's just a lot of hail. We've seen that where it may not necessarily be large, but the quantity is really starting to pick up.
Which then knocks those leaves down, knocks down the little twigs, leaves all that debris you got to clean up in the morning, and the debris that can then rinse away and clog up some of the drains. And
Very
that
good
can
point.
lead to some more of the flooding, unfortunately. So this was very recently with some of that hail that is hitting downtown right now. It's actually hitting KSAT 12 and our surrounding neighborhood. But yeah, that's that. I've got a few others here. That was a lightning strike near Taft High School.
Some cloud ground lightning. Yeah.
Yep. Hail and Helotes. Mostly on the highest quantity is smaller. And sometimes that happens, with the hail. You could have a low quantity, but larger size. And sometimes you get the converse where you have a higher quantity and smaller size. Obviously, we would prefer the latter there, and it seems like this storm's lean toward that kind of a producer. But here's some debris left over from the hail in Helotes, from Lynette in Helotes. Here's a video for you. Wise decision when you're at the gas station, wait it out.
Yeah.
Don't bother going. You'll see when he zooms out, he's at a gas station. That looks like Culebra.
No lights are flashing there, which means there may be some power issues. But yeah, you really want to hear the ping, ping, ping instead of the baseballs.
Boom, boom.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, the thunk, thunk.
Right.
That's the word. You'd rather hear a lot of it than
Correct.
the rogue, really hard ones.
Exactly.
There's a tree down in front of Hobby Lobby 1604 in Culebra. That's an example of hail. There's some damage, HEB at 1604 in Culebra.
Oh, wow.
Whole light post came down. So yeah, there was a gust within there. And then we saw this one.
Yeah.
So that's what we have ongoing from our KSAC Connect. Thanks for posting that.
Let's look at some of these train sky. I-37 at Hackberry, obviously a lot of electricity, but very, very blinding rain coming down. And that's going to start some ponding on even the major freeways. They start to gather some rain when you get that heavy of rainfall. 90 at Nogalitos, kind of same story there. That's on the west side. And the lightning is just lighting up the sky at this point. I-37 at Jones. It looks like there's some hail coming down mixed in there too. And yeah, that's not a lot of traffic out there, which is good. But you can see that the rain is just getting blown there. Wind-driven rainfall and probably some wind-driven hail as well.
Yeah, so this is where you don't want to be from earlier today. If you can avoid driving through this kind of water, you should. This is the passenger taking the video. Luckily, there's a stranded vehicle. I bet the car died. I bet it got through and then the water overtook the engine.
It happens.
It does. And it's not just the safety issue that we talk about, but it's going to cost you some money too to fix your vehicle. If you got to get new plugs, you got to get some electronic parts, or you get that water inside the cab in the vehicle.
That's even worse.
It gets moldy and it's just a nasty. You get it in your HVAC system, it can be nasty. Anyway, sometimes you're just stuck and the water comes up nearby. At least looks like those cars are mostly making it through, but.
And just because a car in front of you makes it through doesn't mean that you will.
And luckily this is a highway, and not flowing water over, a crossing, right? That is a little worse in those situations. Yeah. This is just one of those clogged drains where the water rose. Still problematic, but it's not going to sweep you away like it would at a crossing.
It's a good point. Crossing. And you got to remember where those low water crossings are. So here in the city, we have a couple notorious spots down towards the quarry. We know that area. There's a tree down there, but where some of the notorious spots, Leon Creek, those places, don't go across those if there's moving water, especially. And then as you get out into the rural areas where you get some of these creeks and there's low water crossings, do not drive through those tonight. Just do not do it.
That's our south side cam right there.
Oh man, just blinding rain, and again, a lot of electricity out there. So we'll go back to radar real quick, and let's do one more reset. If you're just waking up with us, if the lightning and thunder is waking you up, here's what's going on. Big thunderstorm right over San Antonio. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to go until 1:30 a.m. for this segment, and then another one that's coming out of Medina County, moving into southern Bexar County and northern Atascosa County. That's also going to go until 1:30 a.m. So kind of a pair of storms here working south and east. We've also been watching an additional storm that's working its way through Gonzales. We don't want to forget about those folks because that storm also packing a punch. Not only does it have large hail, but look at the lightning strikes with that. And it looks like that hail core is right over the city of Gonzales. So probably some quarter-size hail, I would imagine, there within that storm. And there is.
Oh yeah, I think that's more. That's close. That's probably closer to 2 inches. The Weather Service is saying 2-inch size hail possible.
2-inch size hail. Yeah. That's going to start to do some damage, especially if you're on the south side of the city of Gonzales. You see kind of the main thoroughfares there throughout the city. But as you get south along U.S. Highway 183, you're going to run into some of that larger hail. And if you're watching us from Gonzales tonight, and you can safely do so, send us some pictures and video in case that connects. We know what's going on there. But likely some very heavy rain. I would imagine some street flooding in the city of Gonzales, and that is a warned storm. So that goes until 1:45, by the way, with the warning there. And then we've got some very strong winds out ahead of it. So those are the kind of the three main segments that we are watching tonight. And of course, San Antonio is getting hit with sort of the second storm, if you will, after that big one earlier this afternoon that unfortunately shut down Fiesta. Well, let's look at rainfall, because that's one component that we need to keep a very, very close eye on. This is 12-hour rainfall estimates. And with that storm kind of moving over the same areas that we saw that storm move earlier, where you see some of that orange color, estimating now over 4 inches in between 281 and I-10. That's where some of the heaviest rain has fallen. Monte Vista area, and then north along I-10, likely some very heavy rain there, Culebra Road. Know that there's probably going to cause some flooding. That, the lower level right there was already closed. I'm curious to know if they closed the eastbound line. I hope they did, because that's likely filling up with some rain now. And the heaviest of the rain is actually back out over parts of Bandera County, and where you see this orange red color. Let's see, what are we estimating here? I would guess probably 5 inches or so, 5.3.
Oh, yeah. Those reds. Mm-hmm.
And so, what's interesting about this is, the question is that in the watershed of Medina Lake? That's not going to fill Medina Lake up. The watershed's back
just
here.
east.
Yeah, so we just missed out on maybe seeing Medina Lake get a little bit of a bump. But some of that water will still feed in there, hopefully, because Medina Lake is basically as dry as it was back in 2014, and we remember those days. So let's look at the big picture here. There's the swath of very heavy rain, basically stretching from Bandera County back down into downtown San Antonio. And if you're watching us from the northeast side, unfortunately, that's kind of an area that didn't see a ton of rain. Still some, everyone saw some, and that's good. And these storms are moving towards Poteet and Floresville. So areas that did not get rain earlier, you will have the potential. In fact, could see some heavy rain as the night wears on, or the morning wears on. What time is it? 1:06. So it is probably going to be still busy south of San Antonio as we go into tonight. And there's kind of the bigger look. Adam, did you have anything you want to add here?
No, I can take over if you want, and
Sure,
just kind of give a recap of everything else.
Please do.
Marty, Claudia, if you don't mind. Justin's a little taller than me. That's fine. Readjust.
Not by much, man. Not by much.
But I keep updating these, and there's some good ones over here. A few of them I would watch out for. Let's see. All right, I'll be right over there.
Oof.
Really?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. I wanted to see verification otherwise, but anyway, so that's all I'm watching that. There, let me check.
Yep.
Disconnect this and then reconnect. And then I'm going to adjust, do that at...
Starting to approach close to 1,000 total strikes in that whole area that you're watching there. That's a lot of electricity.
Right around Gonzales. This is headed towards Shiner, too. So Shiner, Hallettsville, Moulton, you're up next. This is going to be a big wind-producing storm.
Wind-driven hail on top of that.
Yeah, that compounds it. Good point.
Yeah.
I hit connect, didn't I? Yes. Anyway, that's the... Okay.
There you go.
Okay, here we are. So just tuning in, checking it out, waking you up. Moulton, you just got the notification. Shiner, Hallettsville, get ready. This is a rowdy thunderstorm that's headed eastward. This is the leading edge, this Boeing segment, and that's where we have some of the highest winds. So with this storm, you're first going to get the wind. It's going to keep driving. You'll get the rain and then the hail to follow. It's not far from Shiner. This is in Gonzales at the moment, and time of arrival for Shiner of the actual wind and rain, I mean, you're talking 125, so within 20 minutes it's going to be there. Hallettsville, your time of arrival, 1:50 a.m. Cuero, you are on the edge of this warning. You may get clipped by it, or there could be some further development southward as this drifts to the southeast. You'll probably get clipped by this. I'll give you a time in Cuero of when you'd get hit by this, the edge of this storm. That'd be nearing 2 a.m. So this is a big thunderstorm with potentially golf ball size hail and wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. Looking at just the wind gusts with this is the really strong segment. So this is the part, big swath of high wind here, stretching from Gonzales southward, right along this leading edge, all right? That's that the potentially 70 mile per hour swath that's headed to the east and southeast toward eastern Gonzales County, western Lavaca County, from Moulton to Shiner, all the way down toward Cuero. You're under the risk of this high wind gust and then heavy rain and then even hail, large hail, golf ball size hail within this thunderstorm there. Obviously very electrified, but where we have the black area on the screen that's moving out of Gonzales, that's where we have the largest hail in this storm. So that's that thunderstorm. Now, what's been waking us up around town is right here. See all these lightning strikes, knocking out power, hitting some trees. We have video of a tree that was struck by lightning and the aftermath of it, burned and split open from earlier today. Anyway, more lightning strikes waking you up, rumbles of thunder, and even on the backside of it, even though the rain has passed some locations, you're still getting the lightning and thunder. For example, near Helotes and Leon Valley, still some lightning strikes, but you're not actually getting the rain at the moment. It's the worst of it has moved out, but you're still getting some of that action. So the backside of the storm is moving out of Castle Hills, Alamo Heights. You're almost done with it. SeaWorld, the worst part is over. Problem is we've got this extra hail that just popped up. Didn't just pop up, but has been there and is changing from McDonough to Somerset on 1604. And this is headed to the east, southeast along 1604 basically, and it stretches into northern Atascosa County. And that is for that severe thunderstorm warning. We still have the potential of a little bit of large hail that's now moving toward Calaveras Lake. So from China Grove to Elmendorf, where we have the purple on the screen, I'm gonna turn the warnings off, where we have the purple, this is where we have a little bit of hail within the thunderstorm. And it's spread out a little bit more. It's not as concentrated. And there's still some, even in the downtown area, some pockets of hail. So it's loud. It's loud, and there could be a quick gust of 60 miles per hour and maybe some hailstones up to about the size of a quarter as well. That's the risk here with this. Now I'm going to time out this part of the thunderstorm that's headed east-southeast, this part of the storm with potential wind gusts there. Well, that helps. Poth at 2:10 a.m. So by Poth, you could get that at 2:10 a.m. Assume that all stays intact. Now, just looking at the hail alone, I like to get a little different view of this storm. Come on. There we go. And this gives us, is the mouse pressed over there? Let's see. No?
No, you want me to reset it?
No, it's okay. I'll get it. There we go. All right. A little different view of this storm. Yeah, let's do this. All right. And just isolate the hail on the south side here. All right, getting a different view. This is going to take a second. Lining it up, tilting it around for you. Now you see that more of the three-dimensional structure to the storm. And once we get this look, we can then just isolate the areas of hail, the hail-making parts of the storm, and that's the purple on the screen. I know it doesn't look like a whole lot as compared to what we saw earlier, say around Canyon Lake, but the purple's this hail suspended within the storm, and then right here on the ground, that's what's actually hitting the ground. So you look at it straight up and down, and you see it hitting Somerset, heading toward Oak Island, toward Thelma, and toward La Soya as well. But there you have the hail suspended within that chunk of the thunderstorm. And it's not quite as pronounced in the other thunderstorm that we're watching closer to China Grove. This is where we have most of the hail near San Antonio. And of course, a lot of lightning and thunder waking everybody up. This severe threat lasts through about 2 a.m. Maybe that's what we've been saying, about 2 o'clock, maybe even a little bit later. But for the most part, for San Antonio, 2 o'clock still seems to be on track, give or take a few minutes.
And Adam, real quick, we did get a report of dime-sized hail in Gonzales.
Dime, okay. I think it would be bigger, but
I would too.
Still more reports can come in.
And we've had several reports of a 1/4 to 1/2 inch diameter hail in central Bexar County, which jives with what we've been talking about. It's mainly smaller hail, but in large quantities.
Yeah, small hail, large quantities. And that's actually a type of the hail formation process. And the type, lower quantity, but larger size. It depends on the type of atmospheric setup and the moisture content, the vapor content, and all these other things in the atmosphere, depending on how that's going to develop that hail. Biggest storm right now, one of the biggest, moved through Gonzales. Shiner, you're up next. Moulton, you're going to get hit by that as well. That could have that 60-mile-per-hour gust. Otherwise, this activity here is largely leaving San Antonio. I mean, it's still in town, but you look at, say, the west side of town, the north side of town, it's come to an end. So rest assured, Hollywood Park, Stone Oak, you get to Castle Hills, Leon Valley, SeaWorld, it's getting better, okay? This is only going to get better. You're going to have less lightning, less thunder, the rain is tapering off, and no more hail. The hail is done for you. That's the locations I mentioned, from SeaWorld to Leon Valley, up to Hollywood Park, Chavano Park, Castle Hills as well. And Windcrest, you're almost there, but not quite yet. Timberwood Park, Bulverde, you're in the clear. It's getting better. Castroville, your conditions will be getting better. Lacoste as well. The worst has passed you. Natalia, you're almost out of the woods here for the worst part of the storm, because the worst part of this storm is this purple area from Somerset into northwestern Atascosa County, where it's bowing out just a little bit. And that bowing segment is what you can sometimes detect a little bit better on the radar. Either way, these have some very heavy rainfall rates and can lead to quick ponding of water and flash flooding on the roadways. I'm going to time this one out again. I'm going to time out this other one. So the leading edge of this thunderstorm cluster, we're going to take a look at this one and pop that up here. All right, do that. Oh, geez, come on. All right, Lavernia High School 118, Stockdale 147, Floresville High School at 1:49 a.m. So we'll give you, let's see, a little before 2 a.m. for Poth. And notice how they're mostly now moving to the southeast. There's that southerly component to it. And these are almost coming together right here over San Antonio. South side of town, you're in the thick of it. As we speak, you are in the thick of it. China Grove, you're in the thick of it. East side of town, you're in the thick of it. Mainly just a lot of heavy rain here as we zoom in. The reds show the heavy rain, AT&T Center, Houston Street there outside the AT&T Center. Still heavy rain immediately downtown, around the River Walk, the Pearl, toward Monte Vista, Almos Park, Castle Hills, Lee High School, starting to see it taper off. This green is the lighter rain, and that's the action that's tapering off. Still some lightning. Look at that newest strike. It's flashing because it's a new strike. It's right here near Antler Drive. That's a new lightning strike right there within 410, just south of Castle Hills, not far from Blanco Road as well, near Blanco Road. So Medical Center, I know you had some hail earlier. The worst of it's gone. You're in the clear now. West side of town, we're starting to see it taper off a little bit, and it's really still ramping up here. I-35 and 1604 on the south side, and especially 1604 over toward 281. From I-35 to 281 along 1604 on the south side is where that heavy batch is going. And we got to watch out for some wind gusts here, moving through Elmendorf, Calaveras Lake, and then toward Lavernia, Sutherland Springs, Stockdale, and Floresville. Got to watch out for some of those wind gusts, especially in those little nooks and crannies, that little notch there. Not the best orientation. Anyway, some threats will help us out as well. Okay. Purple's usually some hail and potentially some winds. Yeah, maybe, I wouldn't say 1.5 inch hail. Maybe.
It's been overdoing it a little bit
Yeah,
tonight.
it typically does overdo it a little bit, so it's usually a little bit more. But I'm going to track the back end for you because downtown, you're still getting it. It's moving through. It's going to be done here. This is when it's going to end, okay? Monte Vista, 5 minutes and it's over with. Pearl area 125, Lone Star Brewery 126, AT&T Center, it'll be done at 1:31. So you have about 12 minutes left around the AT&T Center till the backside is through. Whereas Windcrest, you're just about on the backside. Randolph, you're still getting skirted, but you're not going to have much more in terms of accumulation. Still loud, and you still see those flashes off in the distance. But I also want to touch on this right here, the high winds moving towards Shiner and Moulton. These high winds could be gusting up to 60 and even 70 miles per hour. The wind is moving in, and then you get hit by the rain, then the hail, and okay. And then you just gotta bear through it. That's probably closer to 2-inch diameter hail, opposed to the 3-inch it said there. That says less than 58 mile per hour winds, but there is potential for that rogue gust to be even higher. That's just the algorithms within there. Speaking of hail, we can look at this one more closely and look at that. This whole broad area of hail right here. Look at all those lightning strikes.
So many.
Just there. We can count them. No, not like that. Can't, but there we go. Well, there we go. Of course. 707 just within this view right here over the past 15 minutes. All right. Let's turn off the lightning, turn off the warning. And now you have our 3D volume. So looks kind of cool, but it also can give us some insight into more of the structure of the thunderstorm, and then more insight as well. So this is what's moving into Shiner and Moulton, okay? Shiner, it's moving in right now. Flatonia, it's headed your way, basically. This is what's moving in. Moulton, Flatonia, Shiner, and filtering out the hail area, just showing the hail area. This is the hail part within the storm, and this is where it's hitting the ground. So all this is all the hail that's suspended up in the storm. And sometimes you see it very organized and it arcing up and around. We only saw that briefly around Canyon Lake earlier today. Like if you had a big whopping supercell, a big old rowdy supercell, that's what you'd see. We're not seeing that with these little clusters that are popping up, but we do get these signatures that are very defined here. And this is that hail that could be golf ball size. You know, when we don't have eyes on the ground everywhere here, you know, a lot of these rural areas, even if that's your land, you don't necessarily know, you know, a few acres away from the house or wherever you are, you know, several acres away or 100 acres away, you don't know exactly what happened until you go out there and look. And it's not a good time to go look, but we can fly around the hail within this thunderstorm. And notice how it stretches back all the way southwest between Gonzales and Smiley is where we have the hail portion of this storm. So that's the hail threat. The wind threat is different, and that's the potential for 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts. So that's that right there. That's a look at that storm.
Adam, you want to take a look at some pictures real quick? We've got a few
Yep,
more.
I'd love to. Let me try to reset this. Anyway, you can go for it.
Okay. So, we always tell you to use sort of a frame of reference when talking about hail size. This is the first time I've seen a cigarette lighter, but you know what, it works.
Our viewers never cease to amaze us.
Yes.
At least it's something.
It's something. It really, honestly, any sort of frame of reference helps. So whatever you have, and maybe that's what you have at the moment, that is saying about nickel size hail, maybe nickel to dime size. That was around Woodlawn Lake. We've got some other video here. This is, not sure, it says not in the city is the name of the moniker there, but I'm not sure exactly where this is. But you see the hail coming down, and just very heavy rain. That looks like small hail, but it's a lot of it, and that's kind of the theme that we've seen tonight with a lot of this activity. Not sure where this is either. That's close to quarter size hail. It does say in the city of San Antonio, so if we were to venture a guess, somewhere around downtown probably, just based on the radar views that we were seeing earlier. And we'll go to a few more here. Generally speaking, this has kind of been the size. This is off of Pine Street here in San Antonio, and it's smaller than a quarter. More like pea-size hail. And we've seen
the wimpy hail.
Yeah,
that's the kind of hail we like.
Yeah, it's loud, and it sounds, bad, but it may not be. At the end of the day, that is what you want. Let's go to Helotes. This is a mixture of rain and hail here. And it looks like it's one of those doorbell cameras or security cameras. But you can see the heavy rain coming down, probably mixing with some hail there. The reports of hail have been pretty widespread. Oftentimes when you get these severe thunderstorms, it's like a small corridor of hail. But in this case,
very spread out.
It has. It's been sort of disorganized in the sense that the hail's kind of been all over these thunderstorms. And so a lot of people are experiencing it, but usually how that works, if you have hail over a broader area like that, it's usually smaller hail. Whereas when you get the really large hail, it's typically a small corridor. So we're kind of sharing the wealth, so to speak, when it comes to the hail this morning. We'll go through a few more pictures here. Didn't want to show this. Alamo Ranch. And what you're looking at there is a fence down. This may have been what we were looking at earlier, just a different vantage, but wind appeared to take down that fence there in Alamo Ranch. And that looks like that was maybe from the initial storm this afternoon.
Yeah, sun was still up there.
Yeah.
So that was after that initial storm. Yep. Okay, I just reset a few things. So Weather Service consolidated this storm now into one warning, which makes sense. It's kind of pulled together into one warning. And well, thanks for those, Justin. We'll go back to more of that. As they come in, just feel free to flip over to it.
Sure.
Right? All right. Man. Got my friends out here near Shiner, Moulton, Hallettsville. Get ready, it's moving in. Once it's done, let us know what happened. Belinda, James, Marty, stay safe, all right? For sure, stay safe. So you see all these little yellow boxes overlapped. Now it's basically this one big box, which is this severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30 a.m. Wilson, part of Atascosa County, and southeastern Bexar County. But what I want to do is time it out for locations because this is moving to the southeast around 30 miles per hour. So getting rid of some of this clutter on the map, getting rid of the lightning as well, just so you see the pure reflectivity and drawing this out. My goodness. Sometimes you got to talk nice to the computer. It's a little better to, a little treats you nice too. All right, let's get that. All right, well done, computer. Good job. Floresville, 141. Pleasanton High School at 143. Stockdale at 152. Poth at 154. And Falls City at 217. That's when you can expect this storm to make it to those areas. If you are within the path of this storm here, stay indoors. Best to stay away from the windows. And again, that's Floresville at 141. So 141 along 181. Pleasanton, 144. Poth at 154. Falls City at 217.
And it's worth noting these are areas that have not seen the rain. They did not see that initial storm earlier today.
No, not as much. I mean, they saw some rain, but not the same.
Right.
Yeah, so speaking of, you look at the 12-hour rainfall, and you're going to get a good soaker. There you have it. See? It fizzled out and now they're going to actually get hit. Whereas we look downtown and check this out. This is where we had the training, the storms that followed each other. Thankfully, we had a few hours in between. That at least allowed a little bit of drainage. But look at these rainfall accumulations. Okay, so we're going to go between 281 and I-10. Monte Vista, Almos Park, McCullough Avenue, Mariposa Drive. We're going to get to Mariposa near Wildwood and Hermosa. Butterfly Drive, 4.7 inches estimated by the Doppler radar. So over 4.5 inches as part of San Antonio within 410, just north of the Pearl, from Alamo Heights to almost Balcones Heights, and then southward, even stretching toward Memorial High School, Culebra Road, Martin Street. These are some. Delgado, you got 19th, 15th, 19th, 24th. And those are 4+ inch rainfall estimates as well, those reds.
And that's right where the lower level of I-10 is too.
Yes, you're right. The lower level where it's split, you got the upper and lower, and that's 4.7 inches. So there's bound to be some issues. And Stephen Cavazos he'll be here.
RJ today.
RJ Marquez will be here.
And actually, I can switch over to TransGuide here in a second, Adam, but there is the lower level of I-35. You can see both sides now are filled with water.
Oh, that second batch, because they're already clogged.
Yeah.
Luckily, the rain has moved out of there. So if you're outside or if you're within 410 in San Antonio, the threat has passed, okay? The threat has passed within 410. However, we've seen this little chunk of hail flare up again outside of Calaveras Lake, outside of 1604, just a few miles south of Lavernia. We're talking 7 miles south of Lavernia there, southwest of Lavernia. And this is headed towards Sutherland Springs. So that hail batch, that hail core, is going to make it to Sutherland Springs at 1:49 a.m. Probably a minute or two sooner. So 1:49 by 2 a.m., that's going to be Sutherland Springs. Further down the line, that batch of hail, Stockdale at 2:01 a.m. Okay, that's that batch of hail. And then we have this other batch of hail that's clipping Poteet and headed toward Pleasanton. Moving into Lemming, between Poteet and Lemming, we've got this hail producing part of the thunderstorm, and that would then, assuming it makes it to Pleasanton, may pass just north of Pleasanton, but we're going to assume it doesn't. 1:45 a.m. is when that would hit Pleasanton. And then I don't want to forget our folks off to the east. City of Gonzales, the worst has passed. Shiner, the worst has begun for this storm. Moulton, the worst is beginning as well. You're seeing those wind gusts. The wind gusts should begin, if not now, very shortly. And then after that, you've got the heavy rain, followed by the hail, and throughout it all, of course, a lot of lightning and thunder. But this is the leading edge of that high wind. And that's right here, especially this area. Some of the highest winds there, just outside of Cuero. So south of Shiner, toward Cuero, but this whole swath, you could have some damaging winds, 60 to maybe even 70 miles per hour along that swath, especially right there. And that swath is only, that leading edge is now 10.5 miles away from Cuero. That part, that bowing segment of the thunderstorm that that was bowing segment that we had been watching. So watching that storm motion there. East, moving east, there's that little bit of southerly component that's closing in on Cuero. Cuero, it's not long until it makes it to you. You're going to get that first little bit of rain at 1:54 a.m. So 1:54, talking about 20 minutes from now, Cuero, within 20 minutes, Cuero, you're going to have that puff of high wind, the rain, and then possibly followed by some hail as well. But that's that thunderstorm. Going back to the warnings, just so you can see what's out there and what's been issued. There's the latest warning from Cuero up to Hallettsville, and also Floresville, Poth, Pleasanton, Poteet, Lemming, Lavernia, Sutherland Springs. You're all included within that. My goodness. All included within that. And there we go. Now we have just that final warning. I'm going to pause this right there, just that final warning. Also, we can look at some of our storm reports. And those around San Antonio were generally speaking from earlier today. These little storm reports, these hail reports and whatnot, but we can look at this one here. Downtown, we'll see what time that was. That hail report, if it'll take. Justin?
You want me to help you out?
Oh, yes, for some reason.
It doesn't want to.
Okay, hold on.
It's stuck.
Yep,
Let me disconnect it.
it's stuck.
Let's see.
Anyway, it's good to know that downtown, the worst is past.
There you go.
That was at
7:40.
7:40 p.m. Yeah, so that was earlier.
Let me take you over to TransGuide real quick,
Yep.
Adam. I want to show you the 35 at San Pedro. Look at the lower level there.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was looking at something else. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're right. That is
Yeah.
just a pond.
And it's closed. I mean, it's closed. The
Yeah.
lower level 35 is closed, but it just shows you that. And we're getting a report here: 0.91 inches reported in a 15-minute gauge in southern Bexar County. So that's a lot of rain at once.
Yeah, that is a lot of rain at once. And
While you're working with the radar real quick, I'll go through some of these TransGuide shots and just show you what's going on around town. Now, the rain generally, as Adam just said, is starting to come to an end here in the city of San Antonio, but a lot of the roads still very wet, and some of them with some high water. So you know the spots to avoid where we have those low water crossings, Leon Creek, as you get over towards Almost Dam, those areas, and those are places where you don't want to mess with them. And let's see, that is I-10 at Culebra. That's obviously the lower level there at I-10, and at least the westbound lane is closed, but I would imagine they probably closed both of them. This is where we had a car stranded earlier. Looks like they may have gotten the car out, but you see all the debris and that water is piled back up after this storm came through.
all that muck.
All that muck that is just been sitting there for so long because it has been so long since we've got a good rainfall like this. And lost in all this is the fact that this was much needed rain. Yeah, we're getting the hail, we're getting the lightning, we're getting the winds, but the rain, a welcome sight.
Southwest Research Institute there, just within 410, right? Mm-hmm. On the west side, 2.95 inches nearby.
Nice.
These are rain gauge measurements that we're seeing. 2.95 inches there. Chavano Park, one gauge of 1.78. You get closer to Camp Bullis, about 1.25. Near Culebra Creek, this is just west of Leon Valley, and a 2.83 and a 3.64.
Yeah, that jives with what we were looking at on radar as far as radar estimates. And where we got some of those bigger estimates you were showing there, just north of downtown, we don't really have gauges there, so we don't know for sure, but it seems like that certainly be the case.
That's why we like the estimates, because they give us the in-between rain gauges.
Right.
Oops.
Oh, sorry, Adam.
Oop, that was me. Sorry. Two clickers at once. All right, this is odd.
Still not working for you.
Yeah, that's weird.
Look over to the...
Okay, well, anyway, I can drive by hand for a little bit.
Probably overworked at this point.
Might be a little overworked, but while we're at that, we can share some of our latest KSAT Connect with you. And then, so that one was going, and this one. Okay, let's just take you through some of these. Here we go, let's watch this one. That's at the gas station. Another.
That's in Elmendorf.
Ah, where it's moving in right now, basically. Yeah, okay. That's where it's moving through right now. It's moving through Elmendorf. So this is, and actually the back edge of it is moving through Elmendorf. That's not working. Anyway, the back edge of it's moving through Elmendorf, and that's good because that'll get better for you soon in Elmendorf. you're seeing improvements right now in Elmendorf. I know it's still packing a bit of a punch, but it's going to be getting better soon. Most of the hail is along 281 Lemming down toward Pleasanton. That's some of the largest, I should say, the potentially largest hail within this, and then just west of Sutherland Springs. And we're talking only 10 miles west of Sutherland Springs. So that gives you 1:54 a.m. for Sutherland Springs, Stockdale 2:03 a.m. for the time of arrival in your neck of the woods. And let's look at, oh wow, yeah, there's some nice
good lightning
photos coming in too. Can look at some of those before we get into the rainfall.
And that doesn't say where it is, but we've seen a ton of electricity with these storms. We were just counting some of the lightning strikes earlier, and there were so many. So we know they're very electrical, but they are moving out of San Antonio. It doesn't mean you can't get a few rogue strikes behind this line. In fact, we are seeing that within the city of San Antonio. So you're still going to hear some rumbles of thunder, but the rain, the heavy rain for the most part, has ended. And now we're seeing that very electrical storm out near Gonzales push towards Howittsville. So you're seeing a lot of lightning there, and you're going to hear it. LaGrange, also same story, very dense area of lightning associated with that. And we should also probably mention that we have a rogue storm that has developed up in near Rock Springs in Edwards County. That's still along that outflow boundary. It's just the outflow boundary is kind of, it's pushed further south in some spots than others. So we'll watch that, but it's all by itself out there, and it's mainly over rural areas and pushing southeast. So this is a look at the storms. This was earlier, so this was the first round of storms, but this is an incredible shot of some of the lightning. That's cool. I'm guessing that was that first storm as it kind of went south as the sun set, and you could see some of the lightning strikes associated with it.
And a lot of these from that distant storm, we're looking at the lone storm that was left over in northern Atascosa County coming out of Medina, Frio County, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So some of those beautiful shots, not quite like what we saw over the weekend.
Oh, the one last Saturday was nothing short of incredible.
Yeah, this is just loading, but it'll start playing here soon.
So this is one of the few scenes that we are getting out of Gonzales, and we were kind of curious what things were looking like there. So this will give us a general idea. Come on, it takes a minute. A little bogged down. Well, we've got a ton of pictures coming in, and we should take a second to thank everyone who submits the pictures. We ask that you do it safely, but it always good to have views from all over our viewing area. And this is from Gonzales. You can see the lightning is just almost nonstop. Rain's coming down. Can't hear it, but I would imagine if you could probably hear some hail mixed in there too as this storm works through. And it really just non-stop lightning.
Yeah, and honestly, I can say I love you people that are sending this stuff in, that do it in a safe manner and give us that ground truth of, what's happening or what's happened. That's the hail. Usually these cameras don't pick up rain that well, right, because of their frame rate. But when it's a bigger hydrometeor, I just say that word to sound smart.
I like it.
Yeah, when it's a bigger hydrometeor, then you can actually see it with those frame rates. Sure. On those cameras, and we are still seeing some hail. Man, the hail looks like it just this bit of hail that's just near Shiner. Oof. That has really popped up. All right, let's see if this works, Justin.
Yeah, let me switch you back over to radar. That is a intense cluster.
This is intense hail.
Right there, Lavaca, DeWitt, and Gonzales County, where they meet.
Yep.
Right at that corridor.
Yeah, we might be having a connectivity issue.
Have you tried this remote? See, maybe it's the remote.
Maybe it is. Anyway, this is some large hail right near Shiner, not far from Shiner. Okay, come on.
Well, I can work it for you.
Yeah, we may have to. And then Doug in engineering, we may have to reset our receivers. I know we've been going through this for a while, but this is the big whopper of hail just southwest of Shiner here, just a few miles, a matter of a few miles southwest of. And there you have it. The threats are going to overdo it a little bit, usually by an inch to an inch and a half. Mm-hmm. So it says 3 inches. We've known through experience with this technology and its estimates and algorithms, it's a little inflated. So it says 3.5. It's probably closer to 2 I know that's not a lot of consolation if that's headed towards you and you're, say, on the south side of Shiner. But that's that. And then this is going to eventually be headed toward Hallettsville. Looks like the biggest of the hail right now will be just south of Highway 90, south of Hallettsville. However, this little pocket of hail, this purple area, could flare up as well. Got to watch for development. 2:06 a.m. Get ready for some hail. By 2:05, you're going to ting, 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 ting. Hopefully it's just the tings and not the thuds. But that's with this severe thunderstorm warning. You get the wind. Hallettsville down to Cuero. Soon you're going to get the wind. Then you get rain. And shortly after the rain starts, it's going to mix in with hail as well. And then we can go back to the other thunderstorm that's been moving out of San Antonio. In San Antonio, you're in the clear. Those of you watching around town, you're in the clear. The backside has moved through. No more threats the rest of the night. Tomorrow, generally quiet, but still have that 30% chance of a rogue pop-up thunder shower or two through noon. Non-severe, but a few little showers could pop up. And then tomorrow evening, oyster bake, right? It's going to be beautiful. Fabulous. Beautiful weather tomorrow afternoon all the way through Saturday. Lemming to Pleasanton, another pocket of hail, and anywhere within this, you'll have the swirling thunderstorm winds and even the wind gusts potentially up to 60 miles per hour. So that jives, I mean, we said main threat through 2 a.m. for San Antonio, and that's definitely the case. So the threat has left San Antonio, but we're still watching you, Floresville, watching you, Poth, and Lavernia and Sutherland Springs. Then even up near Rock Springs, Justin mentioned that one storm that's up near Rock Springs, that rogue lone thunderstorm that decided to pop up. But that's what we get in these scenarios with this scattered type of activity, not as organized as it can be sometimes along a cold front. So we had the first batch move through. This was the second batch and our final main batch around town. Still, you're going to hear some thunder right now, but just know the threat has passed for the majority of San Antonio.
The one threat that you may have to continue to think about is the flooding. There's still a flash flood warning until 3:30.
You're right, and that's if you're on if you're hitting the roads right now. Well, I mean, yeah, but I just don't know many people who are hitting the roads. I know people do, but I mean, if you don't have to, don't. If you don't have to venture out, and if you do, use the upper levels. Don't use lower levels. If you see the water, say in a turnaround and it's high, avoid it. Okay, there's always another way around. Definitely avoid it. But the worst parts of the storm's moving into Hallettsville, Shiner, just about to clip Cuero, and then especially Lavernia to Sutherland Springs, Floresville, Lemming, Poteet, Pleasanton. You've got that. And look at all those lightning strikes. If you could tilt this a little bit too, that's when you really see the lightning. And these are the actual cloud to ground strikes. 56 positive strikes. Those are the ones that you hear the most. And the brighter flash, you feel the thunder that those positive strikes cause, and it rattles the dishes in your cupboards.
Look at that reflectivity right there, Adam.
Yeah, that's some rowdy hail, unfortunately.
So right there, 77 and 111, and that is Yoakum right there. Yoakum. Yep. So the city of Yoakum, they're about to get hit with some. They're estimating what ping pong size hail, perhaps.
Yeah, probably ping pong ball size hail that's headed toward Yoakum. We're moving into Yoakum basically right now. So if you're in Yoakum, sorry, too late to take any safety measures for vehicles and whatnot. You had to do that earlier today, as we've been talking about the severe threat and hail threat for a while. Now it's coming to fruition for you in Yoakum. That's what you're seeing at this time with that. That's probably the biggest hail we have in the area. And
this storm basically parallels Highway 77. So anywhere along Highway 77 there, north and northeast and southeast of Yoakum, you're about to get hit pretty hard. Shiner is now within the core of that storm too, in Hallettsville. So we said what, about 2:05? That may be a little bit late because the rain's already starting there. And if you want me to. You can tell me if you want me to get a certain view for you, or
Let's see, I was just going to do this. I was going to right click on here to pop up. What is that? I was going to get it to show you. There we go. Oh, look at all those places.
Yep.
Yeah, I tweaked that a little bit.
Yeah, of course, as you go east of San Antonio, a lot more towns than if you go west of San Antonio. So there's a lot more landmarks.
Yeah, more landmarks. Anyway, I just want to throw those up, and then let's just go a little 3D on this bad boy. What do you say?
It's it's starting to intensify there.
It is. All right,
Yeah, that's more
the
indicative
hail.
of a good hail core.
Yeah. Like we were talking about, one of those main, more organized, bigger, arching hail cores, and that's what this is. That's headed into Yoakum. We can fly right into it. So this is just barely south of Shiner. Not that you couldn't get damaging hail in Shiner, but the larger hail, the largest, I should say, right? Yeah, that's headed into Yoakum. And that's all this right here.
It's an impressive view.
It is, isn't it? It's a very impressive view of the massive amount of hail. And the reason the radar can detect this and we can estimate that this is hail is because it looks bigger, has a bigger signature to the radar. Mm-hmm. And so that is why, folks, why we can actually detect that. And you see that just from a distance, too. I mean, look at that from the vantage point of being in Victoria. You know, you're looking at that thunderstorm that's stretching up to 55,000 feet, and you can see it, and then you can switch this back over and see the overhanging kind of arching part there, and all the lightning coming out of that. Whew. Anyway, that's our other way to detect. Oh gosh, yeah, that grew even more, right?
That's a legit hail core right there.
Legit, yeah. This is a serious one. Terryville, you're gonna have it at 206. Yoakum, it's hitting right now. Hope, 209. Azell, 216. When that would be in your area. Now, this is the other storm we're watching. And yeah, we have these stragglers along I-35 in the southwest side of town. They're insignificant. Yeah, wind gusts possibly 70 miles per hour into Lavaca County. Yep. This part of the storm, tracking this out, Stockdale, Poth, Pleasanton. All right, the main cities this will hit will be Falls City at 203, Karnes City at 224, Kennedy at 237, Runge at 239, and then Nordheim at 246. Give that to you one more time here. All right, there you have those times on the screen, and listing it, I had to switch over to list a few more locations for you mixed in. As we get further away from the densely populated areas, I switched the settings. So Falls City 204, Pavlikville 206, Hobson 210, Santa Maria 217, and Mayo at 220. That's for that thunderstorm that could have a 60 mile per hour gust. And definitely has some pockets of hail within it. If you want to look at the hail like we have been, first I'm going to look at just the lightning, then the threats. Purple, black, and white is hail in this storm. But the other way to look at it, let's pop this baby out. Not as tall of a structure, but still a few little pockets of hail in there, little swaths of hail, little burst of hail. Hopefully not damaging. Let's hope.
But just based on the history of that storm,
Yeah.
it has not been overly large, which is good.
Yeah, it's
But
not
that-
like what we have out east.
Yeah, that storm near Yoakum, that storm means business. And by the way, we're getting some more KSAT Connect pictures. And Yvonne, who is sends in a lot of great photos, she's showing her rain gauge around 3 inches there, but she says she's at 6 hours and counting without power. So there still may be some power issues within the city of San Antonio.
Yeah, power outages in the paths of those storms. Even getting them in Guadalupe County, 300 customers, 700 in Comal, 400 in Kendall, Bexar County, 20,000. So that,
Pretty big number.
yeah, it was over 40,000 earlier.
Yeah. And they're just reissuing the thunderstorm watch. But that's
Don't get me started on these
I won't.
watches, okay?
I will.
Oh, we've been watching all day.
Yes.
Watch out. It's watch. No, just there's a threat, folks. We can throw the CPS map up right now, and then let's go into some of our KSAT Connect.
Sure.
I'm going to reboot this system.
Yeah, let's do that. So let's look at some of these pictures here. I first want to show you that. I just mentioned Yvonne sending in the picture. This is rain gauge. She's showing over 3 inches. I don't know her exact location, but that jives with some of the estimates we've been seeing on radar, 3 inches plus in parts of San Antonio. But I think the more important part here is 6 hours and counting without power. There are some power outages. We just mentioned that about 20,000 here around the city or around Bexar County. So as electrical as those storms were, not a surprise, but we know CPS usually works pretty fast to get those issues rectified, and I'm sure they're out working tonight. They dispatch people immediately after these storms to start getting those fixed. And let's see if we can, there we go. I want to show you another picture. This is some hail around Thomas Jefferson High School around 12:50 a.m. Thank you for putting the time. That is very helpful, and the location. It really gives us a good idea of what's going on. You can see it's small hail, but Adam put this perfectly earlier. You get a lot of that small hail, but mixed in, you may get some bigger pieces, and you can see on the hood of that car, probably not quarter-sized, but maybe a little bit bigger than pea-size. And that's not going to do any damage, but it's loud. It is really loud as some of that hail comes down. And this is a Ring camera at 410 and Perrin Vital. We've gotten quite a few of the doorbell cameras, security cameras tonight, and they also are painting a picture of strong winds. It'll load here in just a second, but strong winds and heavy rain. Kind of hard to see the hail with these cameras.
Yeah, they take a little patience loading on there.
Yeah, but we'll get there. We'll get there. By the way, if you want to go out, you want to check out some of these photos and pictures yourself, videos, you can do that on our website, and you can look at everyone's submission here to KSAT Connect. It's the best way we have of sharing these photos with everyone. So here we go. They finally loaded there. And again, this is 410 and Perrin Vital. Pretty clear picture there for a doorbell camera. But you see the very heavy rain coming down. And it does look like we've got some hail too. It's all wind driven. So while the hail may have not been very large, when you get a lot of that small hail and the wind's driving it into your windows, man, that'll wake you from a deep sleep real quick. And you know, the puppies and the dogs kind of freak out too. So that's what we're dealing with these storms. Let's see what else we got.
In San Antonio, the threat is gone. It's out of here. Back edge
done.
is out. Go back to bed. Rest easy, knowing that that you're safe for the rest of the night. You've got nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about.
This poor truck, man. You hate to. No, this is interesting, but let's try and see what.
Is that? It's probably 1604. The Bike World on 1604. There's a few Bike Worlds. I go to the one on 281.
Yeah, I'm trying to see it. It looks like
And that's
a truck or a car.
That's one of the new Broncos, I think. One of the
Oh,
smaller
I think you're right. I
Broncos.
think you're right. But look at the size of that tree.
Well, and here's the thing. When you get the heavy rain, if that area of ground gets saturated, then those roots, it can easily,
sure.
it can easily, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I got
over
you.
a tree.
All right, well, listen, our poor trees have had a bad stretch here because of the ice storm this winter. They've had a tough go of it.
And that could play a role in some of this, maybe,
It's
in
true.
weakening them. I mean, I'm not an arborist, but
You know, I just lost a tree in my front yard from the freeze 2 years, the big one
Yeah.
in February.
Yes.
It's just now taking its toll.
Yeah, sure.
It finally died because some of the bark came off from the freeze. And so, yeah, anyway, all that to say, the trees have had a rough stretch last several years. And
I feel like we're still getting some of the effects of it.
yep.
And then even a non-severe wind on it can cause issues. Then you add to it these thunderstorms.
Very true. Very true. Let's see, we're getting some new videos in. So this was earlier. I don't know. It looks like it's nighttime, so this is probably the secondary storm. But this is a time lapse.
Oh, let's see that. I love me a
And you
good
can
time
see,
lapse.
I think this may be the earlier storm, but you can see the storm clouds kind of rolling in. Excuse me. And this was near Southwest Military.
Just testing this.
Is it working for you now?
No, I think we're having a controller issue.
Okay.
Engineering on it.
And this is, it looks like a shot from a window. Some of the lightning strikes, yeah, it's been pretty electrical tonight. So a lot of lightning with these storms. And I will go back to radar. We're having some radar issues right now, but we do want to at least show you what's going on. We still have the biggest storm at the moment is this one out near Shiner and Yoakum. And we've got a ton of lightning strikes, and we've had a pretty good hail core right there. And that's the city of Yoakum right there. So we know the hail is coming down in the city of Yoakum right now. Where you see that black color, we know for sure that there is hail involved there. Probably some severe hail in the sense that it's quarter size or larger. But Yoakum just got blasted with hail. So this is Highway 111. This is Highway 77 here. Sweet Home, Kurth. This is moving in your direction. And these are kind of the far east. This is the far eastern extent of our viewing area, but we want to make sure everyone is safe tonight with these storms coming through. Hallettsville, rain is at your doorstep, and there is probably some small hail mixed in there too. This is about 8.5 miles away from Hope. Should arrive around 2:16. That's when you can expect these storms and kind of this hail core that we've been watching to move into your neck of the woods. And this is, I'd say, by far the strongest storm we have at the moment. So this is the 3D view, and we've been watching this pretty closely. It really gives us a great idea of where that hail core is. And when you see it kind of take that shape, that's when you know it's very concentrated, and we know that we likely have some small hail with it. You see the elevation there of how far that hail gets tossed up into the storm. So we know that this is not a good situation for those in Yoakum. And you're in the thick of it right now, but once this storm passes, if you do have any damage photos coming out of Yoakum, send them our way so we know what you folks have been dealing with. And there you see kind of the sweep going up above.
Hail goes up, 40,000 feet higher.
Yeah, that's probably one of the better hail cores we've seen today, Adam, if I'm...
Yep, it's it's comparable to Canyon Lake, but Canyon Lake ended up being, quantity over
That's true.
size, but this may be the same, but at least you're right.
Yeah.
This is, I think, one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, and hopefully that is the case. Hopefully it is just a lot of small hail and not the larger hail, but we've got to let you know that is a possibility, quarter size and larger, if probably larger, just looking at this. Ping pong, maybe getting golf ball size hail with that kind of look on radar. And the fact that we can look at it, technology is amazing, isn't it? That we can take these 3D slices and look at it like this, but it really kind of helps us as meteorologists see the structure of this storm and let us know that this is a toll storm, and that hail is getting tossed way up into the cloud itself. And we can see that it stretches up to the elevation there of about 60,000 feet or so.
About 50 to 60.
Yeah, that's a healthy thunderstorm.
Yep. Then we can actually go straight up to the echo tops. And 55. So we were right. Yep. 55.
Yeah. And that's, again, right there where DeWitt, Lavaca, and Gonzales County kind of come together. That's where the worst of it has been.
And it's no surprise this tallest part of the storm at 55,000 feet is where the hail is being made.
It coincides. Yep. And that storm continues to push south and east.
That's interesting. We had a few.
Oh, maybe some upper level rotation.
Yeah.
The good news here is we have not had any, well, we did have a tornado warning earlier, right? Coming County.
Radar indicated
kind of a,
from Canyon Lake to Green.
Yeah, potential small spin up. We did not get any reports of damage. Fantastic. So other than that, we haven't had reports or tornado warnings or anything like that. This has mainly been a hail producer, a wind producer, and in some cases, we've had some flooding, although even that hasn't been too bad. This is not one of those classic flash flood events that we sometimes see here in South Texas. So really, this has been a wind and hail event. And that's looking at the situation this morning. That's what we thought would be the main problem is hail, and that has indeed come to fruition. But this line itself is working southeast. Poth, we mentioned that you would get the storm right around 2:05, and look at that. There it is, moving into town for you. And you can see
That's true, yeah.
kind of the evolutions of the warnings, but that is the hail detector in that purple color.
Just do the hail swaths.
Yeah, right there. And the darker the color there on that the hail detector, likely the larger the hail. It kind of flared up right there around Yoakum, which, again, as we were just looking at the reflectivity. Look
at those tracks.
Oof. So Gonzales to Yoakum. That's the corridor right there where you got the large hail, and it's rather wide. You don't like it to be this wide because that's covering a lot of real estate with potentially large hail or at least large quantities of hail. But between Hallettsville and Cuero, just getting absolutely blasted with probably some wind-driven hail too. And that's going to continue to work its way towards 77, Highway 77 as you're coming south out of Hallettsville. So,
and then we can go back to these ones too. They look like little caterpillars or something going across, but this is just over the past hour.
There. Yep, over the last hour.
I'm going to change this to 4 hours, okay?
Oh, perfect.
This is the hail over the last 4 hours.
And we can start looking up here where you talked about Canyon Lake. That was kind of the one area where the hail really kind of blossomed.
Yeah, you could see that.
And then it kind of fell apart a little bit and then built again as it moved towards Gonzales and now Yoakum where it has flared back up. So it's kind of these segments of storms. And then we got another storm that came into San Antonio, northwest side, worked through downtown with some small hail, and now is working towards the Poth area.
I'm going to go back even farther.
Yeah, do it.
We had this. You dare me?
I dare you to do it.
Double dog?
Double dog.
All right. So we're going to go back 8 hours. I'm going to change the increments to this.
So we can see that initial afternoon storm.
Exactly. Boom.
There's the first one.
Yep.
And then you start to get our next one, next one, next one. So we kind of had 3 segments that we were watching tonight. And each one carried some hail with it. And
then I'm going to keep this just within this view here, okay?
Yeah.
There's that initial push. And then it just fell apart at Elmendorf. Mm-hmm. And then the cold front came in, and man, that's some cool stuff we can do with this, isn't it?
It is impressive.
The way we can track this and watch this. Power outages, let's check back in. Unfortunately, this is a side effect, even if it's not a severe storm. 20,000 Bexar County, 300 Medina County. Gonzales, we're at 400 customers. Wilson County, 1,000 customers without power. If you want to see that in a different perspective, although this isn't all that an important way, it's 2.25% of customers.
Okay.
So yeah.
Not a huge number.
No, it's not a huge number. Like
for those who don't have power,
it's a big number. Yes, all it takes is one, right?
Yeah.
And the rainfall we need to talk about. Mm-hmm. Look at that. High, we're talking 4 to 5 inches within downtown.
Right.
Just north of downtown, and yeah.
We don't have rain gauges there that we can check, but we're pretty confident 3 inches plus, maybe 4
easily,
inches plus. Yep. Right there, and then along I-10. But hey, look up here, Adam. So this is recharge zone.
Yes, let's go over there.
So the aquifer tomorrow, it's going to be climbing, I would guess, all day.
Yeah.
You're going to see that number just consistently go up because this is all recharge, and then some of this is going to feed into Medina Lake too. We'll see what it does. It typically takes a lot more than this to get Medina Lake to kind of move, but it may come up just a hair at least, and then we'll see what the aquifer does because it has been a long time since the aquifer's got a good boost. We've been kind of holding steady at not such a good number, so maybe this will help to move it along a little bit. Threat has ended here in San Antonio. We should say that. We'll reset a little bit if you're just now joining us. I would imagine a lot of people in San Antonio have now called it a night and are headed to bed. But if you're watching us from Hallettsville, Yoakum, Shiner, Cuero, Yorktown, down towards Poth and Pleasanton, you may still be up because it's loud. It is really loud. A lot of lightning strikes. We've got a ton of electricity, and this has been the worst of it. This storm here. This is the same storm, by the way, that dropped the hail at Kingdom Lake. Yep. It has been steadily strong, if not severe, the entire time, and now we're starting to see it flare up again. So let's put some towns in the
I'm
path.
going to put some more towns onto there. Okay?
Hallettsville.
So,
honestly, Hallettsville, it's on your doorstep. It's going to be there any minute. The heaviest of the storm is just on the west side of Hallettsville. And we've got a lot of farmland here. This is a lot of farmland, so that know that this could do some damage to some of the crops, depending on how large it is. Now, the good news is we've been saying all night, just from reports, we've been noticing that even with some of these hail cores, it's just been quantity of hail, not necessarily size of hail. Does not mean you couldn't get some severe hail with this, because just looking at it, it would indicate that you might.
It's bowing out a little bit there again.
Then we have to be concerned about winds, and you see some of the cities. Providence City, 240. Let's see, Seclusion, that's a new one, 232. Mount Olive, 251.
Seclusion. I swear this software company sneaks in names sometimes.
It's a good name.
I'm just,
But yeah, it's bowing out, as Adam pointed out. And where you see situations where it bows out like that, that's, for sure that you've got some very strong winds involved.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
And we're looking high up. I mean, we're looking 4,600 feet high into this thunderstorm.
Correct.
But
still translates to
some
strong winds at the surface.
Yeah, and that's headed right for Hope. Gazelle to Hope, and these are the radar measurements.
Yep. That does not necessarily mean you're going to see those kind of winds at the surface, but we know that
they can get pushed down to the surface sometimes.
Yeah, and 60-mile-per-hour winds, definitely possible along that leading edge of those storms. And again, if you're watching us from Yoakum, I would imagine there has been a little bit of damage there, just based on what we're seeing hail-wise and wind-wise. Yeah, so if you can safely go out and get us some pictures, let's show us what you're seeing there, because we know we do have some loyal viewers there in Yoakum. There's the lightning strikes. We've mentioned how just very electrical all this activity is. Hallettsville, the Shiner right now is where the bulk of the lightning, and then south, just to the east of Yoakum. And we're still getting that just really nasty looking hail core right there that is now crossing over into Lavaca County. So if you're south of Hallettsville, this corridor here, look how tall this storm. We're going to take a slice here in a second. You can see this is a big storm with that hail core. Doesn't look quite as impressive as it did earlier.
Hopefully it's falling apart a little bit. It doesn't look quite the same. I'm going to take off some of those cities so it's not as cluttered. But here's that slice. Good. Hopefully it's shrinking a little bit.
Yeah. Still.
You can see where it hits the ground right there.
Yep.
And then that's where it goes up, and it's suspended in the clouds. And that corresponds to the arching nature of this, how it goes up and over. So, you can't draw on there. Yeah, that arching nature to it. But that's our biggest threat right now, is from Hallettsville all the way down, now through Yoakum. Yoakum, at least the worst is done with for you. Yeah. Thankfully, it's still, not.
And Adam, our director Don is letting me know he wants to take a shot of one of the live cams here. He's said there's of some of the lightning.
Great, probably looking off to the southeast. Let's do it.
You can see it. So we're not getting lightning strikes here, but it is a light show as you look down to the south and southeast.
And so far, this warning has not been extended, and it's a good sign. It's a good thing. We just have the flash flooding around San Antonio.
But Kennedy, Falls City, Carson City, be prepared for this, because regardless of if there's a warning or not, you're going to get some gusty winds. You're going to get some very heavy rain, and it could wake you up. Carson City, 222. Panna Maria, 217. So that's almost at your doorstep. And let's see what else. Kennedy, 2:33 is when it will arrive to your neck of the woods.
Nordheim, 2:48 is when you can expect it. Nordheim, 2:48. And I know there's some other communities there downstream.
And I know the Weather Prediction Center put out, a concern for some very heavy rain in these areas. But I will tell you, these storms are at least moving. So while you will get some heavy rain, and there could be some street flooding, I don't think we're going to have too much of a flash flood threat going into tonight as these continue to push southeast.
It's moving right through Falls City. Karnes City, you're up next.
Could be a little bit of small hail there. Probably not much, but a little bit right along 181. And if you've ever traveled along 181, there's some spots where it's dark, water can collect. Be careful, because that's probably a highway that's taking on some rain right now. Some good heavy rain, obviously.
Yeah. There's that wind threat off in Lavaca County. I don't like seeing this.
Oof. That has been consistent.
It has been, but this, that swath of high winds here. That's crossing right over 7. It has crossed over. It's crossing over 77. And that's between Hallettsville and Cuero, past Yoakum. There's some high winds within that. And some large hail within that. That's loud. You're being woken up. Shiner, the worst is past Cuero. You just missed the worst of that storm. You're still getting clipped by the storm, of course, but the worst of it has been up toward Yoakum and now headed toward Ezell. But Hallettsville, you still have hail, of course. It's loud there. You're still in the thick of it, Hallettsville, and even Shiner starting to improve. Gonzales, you had the worst of it. That's done. Up into Schulenburg, it's still ongoing, but it's not severe. And then this just general garden variety, run-of-the-mill rain on the backside of it.
Yeah, Falls City. It's there.
It's there. Karnes City, you're up next. Kennedy and Runge then, thereafter. You can time it for Runge. 12:46 a.m.
2:40.
Oh my gosh.
It's late.
2:46 a.m. Kennedy, 2:40. Let's just say this makes it to Goliad. How about, oops, jeez. Let's say it makes it to Goliad, right? 3:30. It's 39.3 miles away.
And there's no reason to think it won't hold together. There's still a lot of energy out ahead of this line. And we should also say that this is an outflow boundary. The actual front itself has not pushed through, and that will happen tomorrow morning. And along that, there could be another line, but we don't expect that to be severe, likely just some showers coming through. And then we clear out, and we're going to have a great Friday night. I know we have a lot of fiesta events this weekend. We know that Friday night looks good. Most of Saturday looks good. We will have to keep an eye on Saturday evening, especially in the hill country where we could get some more storms popping up. And then Sunday, a little rainy, potentially, and cool.
Yeah, Sunday. I'm trying to look for this right now. No. Yes, Sunday is looking rainy and cool, the way the latest was. Off and on rain on Sunday with like temperatures in the 60s.
60s.
Like,
Not very April-like.
No, not very fiesta.
But you know what? If I know there are some events on Sunday, but it's probably, if we're going to get some rain, that may be a good day to kind of fit it in. And then, of course, we look to next week. If the models are correct, and I haven't dug into the forecast yet this morning, I'm going to do that before we get on GMSA, but it was looking like we get a front and maybe some cooler weather by the end of next work week.
Yeah, I still think that's in the works for the most part.
Still a little too early to say with great confidence,
yeah.
But that would be great for Battle of Flowers and Flambeau. Well, let's get back to the radar real quick, and we want to make sure that if you're watching from Hallettsville or further south there along Highway 77, that you know there is still hail core involved here, some very heavy rain, and probably some very strong winds too, although the strongest of the winds now pushing east of Hallettsville. So it's kind of where it bows out right here that you get concerned about the really strong winds.
It's a lot of hail though with it.
I would imagine
swath. So. Very scattered about, but then this one big core there.
Right there. And where you see that black color, that is almost, it's a certainty that hail is coming down. It's a question of size, and it's very possible that this is quarter or larger, just based on history. With that being said, most of the hail tonight has just been small, but lots of quantity, and let's hope that's how this is playing out as well.
Okay, lightning strikes, and this is going to correlate here to what I'm going to show you. This is the thunderstorm in Floresville, posted 15 minutes ago, and just watch this through and how it just gets so illuminated. Almost, it's one of those situations, right there. See, if you were out there, if you're looking out your window, kind of hurts your eyes for that quick second.
Sure does.
Because it's such a bright flash. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of cloud to cloud and the occasional cloud to ground, which is the bad one.
I'm assuming, that's Floresville. Mm-hmm. Did we watch this one already? No?
We showed it a little bit earlier, but
okay.
It's same idea.
Yeah,
it's just nonstop flashes. That's that time lapse.
And this was in Lackland at the 7 o'clock storm that hit.
Powerful winds. And we have received some pictures and showing some damage to trees. I think that's kind of been the main damage that we've seen. Not only did we have one struck by lightning, but also the wind. And you mentioned earlier that the wet soils, you get the strong winds, and then the trees will come down.
And I'm looking. I mean, our area anemometers aren't showing anything that would be that like 60 mile per hour range, but it doesn't always take that to cause the kind of damage that we've seen.
Sure.
And speaking of damage, we're going to go back to some of that from earlier, and we'll show you. We just looked at that recently. And while I'm looking through, I'll go back to the radar for you folks. Is that strongest storm that crossed Highway 70, Hallettsville.
Look at the lightning strikes still. Over 1,000. Over 1,000. So you saw some of the pictures of the just constant flashing. That's what they're dealing with now. Cuero to Hallettsville, Poth down to Falls City and Karnes City. You are definitely seeing the lightning. And we can actually see it here in San Antonio. As you look south, there's still a light show going on. And this will continue to advance towards the coast. So by the time we join you on GMSA, which isn't here in another 2 hours, this will all probably be moving towards moving in towards the coastal counties, so places like Corpus Christi and Rockport. So it'll be moving out of our viewing area. But we'll be able to go back and take a look at some rainfall totals. So did they just extend the warning, Adam, or is that?
Yeah, they extended it, and I think we can probably give people a timing. And then, and go through some of this. I mentioned the damage. There's some of it from earlier today.
Yep.
This was, I think, Highway in McMullen, right?
Highway 90.
Yeah, don't you think? Is that
that's what it looks like.
Looks
to me,
like it, yeah.
And honestly, we didn't get that much rain. So to me, that's a product of clogged storm drains. I think it kind of has.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, on Highway, absolutely, on Highway 90 there. And then we saw this Palo Alto area. This is on the far south side. I don't know if that's like a drainage ditch off in the distance.
Yeah, some flowing water though, perhaps.
Yeah, but absolutely. And that was the hail, Clearview and Callahan, knocking down some little mini branches.
And if we had audio, that would be loud.
Yeah, very loud. Even that driving rain would be loud. There's a good example. Mm-hmm. And that's just snapped at the trunk, at the base. I mean.
And this is what, 6 uniform Calibra. So you would assume there was probably some 60 mile per hour winds perhaps involved there, at least a gust.
Yeah, you would, right?
To that level.
Absolutely, and right there, 6 uniform and Calibra.
Mm-hmm. That was an area that probably got some of the strongest winds as these storms came through. So what we'll do is we'll switch back over to radar real quick, and we want to alert those people in our far eastern counties, far southeastern counties about these storms. And then we'll probably take a break. If we need to pass any more alerts to you, we certainly will. But we want to kind of give you one last kind of final look at what's going on here. And thankfully, these are more or less moving out of our viewing area. So once you get towards Edna and El Campo, that's more folks who will be watching some of the Houston stations there. But this is the one storm we've been watching, and it's right there where we get the Boeing. That is where we're probably seeing the strongest winds. And you see some of the towns there that may or will be affected by this this storm. And we still probably have a pretty good hail core there just north of Fort Tran, there just to the north and east of Cuero. That's where the strongest of the storms are right now. But this is pushed out of Gonzales. So if you're in Gonzales, you're in the clear. Hallettsville, give it about another 30 minutes. Shiner, you're pretty much on the backside of it. You're still going to get some rain and lightning strikes, but you're pretty much on the backside of it. Hallettsville, you're kind of in the thick of the lightning, probably some small hail there too. But give it another 30 minutes and you should be looking at the backside of this line.
Soon to improve in Hallettsville.
Exactly.
Yep.
Same story in Cuero. And then we'll take one last look here at this storm that's south of San Antonio. And that is, the thunderstorm warning goes until 3:15 a.m. But it moves towards Kennedy, probably here arriving to your neck of the woods, I'd say, what, Adam, 10 minutes or less?
Yeah.
That storm will be there. It's moving about 30 miles per hour off to the south and east. So Karnes City, about
Kennedy
226.
238. So yeah, about 10 minutes.
We just got the update, and it is literally on your doorstep. So you're going to start to see some very gusty winds, rain, maybe a little bit of small hail where you see some of those purple colors, and then a lot of lightning.
Runge 242,
Yep.
Nordheim 247, Couch at 250, 250. So that's what we have. ETA, Victoria, you're talking 3:05 a.m. for some potential rain and thunderstorms.
But I'm sure, I haven't checked if we're still live on YouTube, but I'm sure we may be getting the question, what about San Antonio? Are we done? And the answer is yes.
We're done.
Yes, we are. We are done. We are not expecting any more hazards tonight. You could get a few broken showers, maybe a thunderstorm tomorrow morning, but we're not expecting the kind of severe weather that we saw today. So you can sleep easy tonight. The storms have passed you by, and it is now affecting our southern and southeastern counties. Folks in Kennedy, Cuero, Hallettsville, just keep in mind that this will pass by. Give it another, probably about 30 to 45 minutes in Kennedy, but everyone else about half an hour, and you'll start to see the back edge of this, and it will continue to push towards the coast.
And this is the only threat for the rest of the night. So
Yes.
once it's passed, you are in the clear. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.